All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of Jon and Jim. A big day for San Diego State, a big conference realignment day. We do want to hear from you. What is your level of excitement? Whatever it is. Are you excited? Are you tepid with it? Are you interested? Are you not? 877-767-4760, or you can text us 70470, start it with team. But again, if you want to call in, 877-767-4760. We have a great show lined up for you today. JD Wicker, San Diego State's athletic director, will join us coming up at 5 p.m. Kyle Glazer and the Padres, of course, we'll get into them momentarily as well. He'll join us at 3:30. You know, I was thinking about this during the update or as we were getting in here. You mentioned last night that news breaks, and my son, who's 5, was already asleep. This happened so quickly that the news broke while Jones was sleeping, and it was official before he woke up. It was at 6 a.m. They put out a press release. He woke up at 7 this morning. I mean, this all happened in a flurry over like 8-10 hours. It was seemingly, Jim, kind of out of nowhere. We've known this is possible. Oregon State, Washington State hanging there in a limbo. But for it to happen just like that on a Wednesday night on social media from Ross Dellinger, it was very surprising. And here we are a day later, and things have changed for San Diego State.
I mean, if anything we know about college football realignment and just college realignment in general is it usually kind of happens out of nowhere. Did anybody have any previous thinking that USC and UCLA were going to, jump ship and go to the Big Ten?
It happens in a cloak of secrecy.
Right. Now, this isn't to that level, right, of USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten conference. Like, that was, as you mentioned a lot, kind
of earth-shattering in college athletics.
Yeah, exactly. This is not that. It's far from it. But when you look at the news that happened late last night, this morning, it becoming official, I think that if you're an Aztec fan, I don't understand why you wouldn't be happy about this move. I mean, you can be maybe a little cautious with it. Like, I want to wait and see what else they do, because they're still going to add 2 more schools. Okay. The future with the TV deal is going to be a question as well, and what they do there. And then do they add other schools for just basketball, like St. Mary's and Gonzaga, or what? This is far from over. Like, this is just the beginning of the new Pac-12. And then how does it parlay into potentially maybe down the road them reestablishing the Pac-12 brand as a Power 5 conference? I don't know if that's going to happen, but in the meantime, they have established themselves, once they get 2 more schools, as easily far and away the best group of 5 school, or I guess the non-Power 5 school, non-Power 5 conference in college athletics.
Yeah, I thought that both JD Wicker earlier, we were at the press conference at Snapdragon Stadium, and I thought the president of the University, Adela De La Torre, put it in good perspective. I mean, they both understand, as all of our listeners do and as we do, this isn't the Pac-12 with Oregon and Washington, even after SC and UCLA. We're not stupid, and they understand the dynamics have changed. But remember the day of SC and UCLA, we were doing a fusion here with Darren, and I said that day,
I was like, Kevin Durant wants out of,
I'm like,
of
shut
New
up.
Jersey?
We're not talking about Kevin Durant.
Brooklyn.
It was like the Padres won the World Series and USC left for the Big Ten. You're like, I want to start with KD. But I said that day with Darren and you that if nothing else, I think there's about a 99% chance San Diego State is in a league with Oregon State and Washington State. That's taken a while to get there.
A year
from that day. That was 2 years ago.
Sorry,
that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they won't be in the same league until 2026. But this is, to your point, this is an upgrade. It just is. To associate yourself with Oregon State and Washington State and the top portion of the Mountain West, not the entirety of the league. Like, with all due respect, it's not Utah State's fault that they're in Logan, Utah, or Wyoming's in Laramie, but San Diego State, to some extent, is subsidizing Wyoming, and that's why the Aztecs only get so much in TV revenue. It's kind of like Ohio State with Purdue. Ohio State would be making more TV money if there wasn't any Purdues and Northwesterns. All they really want is the Ohio State games on TV, not necessarily the Northwestern games on TV. So you're getting the top crust, so to speak, of the Mountain West. You're getting 2 viable power programs in Washington State and Oregon State. And then to your point, Jim, where do you go from here? It's an unfinished product. It's not like they're going to finish this off with 2 quote-unquote bottom feeders. They're going to attempt to get highly valuable group of 5 programs, Memphis or Tulane, maybe Gonzaga in basketball, or St. Mary's College, or who knows what else is out there. But I just think you're taking the group of 5 and the Power 5 with Washington State and Oregon State. You're just just kind of elevating some of these brands by cutting out some of the bottom half of the league you're currently in.
Yeah, and to that end, isn't that what you would want to do? A lot of
That's
times,
the point.
like from a basketball perspective, because I know this is all driven by football.
Yes,
like all college
exactly right.
realignment, athletic realignment is driven by football. And I know a lot of people are like, well, what about basketball? What about basketball? Yep. Well, here's what it does, in my opinion. Like it, like you just said, it takes out the bottom feeders. It takes out the games against Air Force. It takes out the games against Wyoming and Laramie. It takes out the games against San Jose State, where those teams, if you happen to have a bad night, could like crush your season because of how horrible those teams' rankings are. And even if you do win those games, like remember last year, they barely got past San Jose State.
I do remember they won on a J. Powell block.
Yeah.
Remember that from behind? He got beat on the play and he blocked it, like pinned it off the backboard up in Northern California.
And I believe they maybe dropped the net rankings. Remember when they almost
did? They won by 1 point.
Remember when they lost to I'm blanking. UC San Diego?
Of course. Absolutely. It was a Jaden Ledee putback with 0.5 seconds or something.
And if they lost that game, I mean, they're not in the same conference.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different. But like,
it can have big consequences.
Huge consequences. Yep. And I think the basketball program has elevated itself kind of like Gonzaga, where they're just so far and away better than the brand is better than everybody in the conference. And Dutch is gonna, I mean, they have a out of conference schedule that Dutch always makes difficult and very good. And you go into a conference schedule now with the 8 other teams, or the 7 other teams, and whatever, and however that's going to shape up. It's not going to be like, watch out for that landmine over there. Watch out for that landmine over there. It won't be like that.
To your point, and you made a very compelling point that a lot of Aztec fans agree with within the last 2 weeks or less, that San Diego State's a basketball school. I don't fully agree, but for those that do, and San Diego State basketball is very relevant regionally, locally, nationally because of what they've done. If you think that this move is negatively impacting San Diego State basketball, I completely disagree, to your point. And I haven't spoken to Brian Dutcher on it, and I'm sure he'll comment on it at some point publicly. I believe that he would see this as a big-time win for a number of the reasons you just said. You don't have to go to elevation, which is a true obstacle and just an annoyance because you don't get any credit for it. And right now, it's very regionally aligned. I mean, would you rather go to Corvallis and Pullman or Laramie and Logan? You want to go to Corvallis and Pullman. They're not at elevation. You don't need to be going to elevation just randomly. So I think that's a big win. And plus, to our collective points, San Diego State can schedule non-conference nationally. And then, by the way, what if they do add Gonzaga? What if they do add Memphis? What if they do add St. Mary's College? What if they add Grand Canyon? I'm making it up. From a basketball-only perspective. Like, this isn't finished. And, like, this idea that, the Mountain West Conference outside of San Diego State basketball was, San Diego State was the flag bearer, like the flag waver of the Mountain West Conference. They'll be the same now in this newly constructed Pac-12 conference. I don't see it as a negative for San Diego State basketball in the least bit. I just don't, because I know that this isn't a finished league. It's not these 6 teams. There's going to be more teams in there. And I bet some of them that they add have good basketball programs too, like San Diego State.
Like, if you're thinking today that, oh my gosh, they're now in a Power 5 conference, they just elevated into, a powerhouse conference. This is going to be amazing. This conference is going to, no, that's not it. Like take it down a notch. All right. But what I think happened today, and you can absolutely say, is they're in a better position than they were yesterday.
Completely.
Like, no question about it. 100%.
Factual.
And if you're looking at when you do change conferences, obviously you do it to better your school and your brand and your athletic program. You don't like change conferences and then all of a sudden be like, well, we're better off. Like we're actually worse off now. Like, you don't do that. I'm sure Stanford and Cal are probably thinking to themselves, maybe we probably shouldn't be in the ACC, but at the same time,
they got the power portion of it taken care of,
and the revenue as well there.
Although they're just getting a fraction,
but still the travel's god awful and the schedule is probably ridiculous. It's even probably worse than Mountain West Conference schedule.
See, Stanford, and this is we're going on a tangent. Stanford, has their academic principles, and they like aligning with the school like North Carolina and Duke, and Olympic sports like swimming and diving. So it's a little different. Is there a world in the future where Stanford and Cal come back to this league? Yeah, probably in the future. I don't think it's overnight. I think they stay slim, so to speak. I don't think they're going from 6 to 16. I don't think they're going from 6 to 12. I think they might just add 2 more, maybe 3 more, or 2 for football and 1 or 2 more for basketball. But I'm with you, Jim. I think it's an upgrade. It's kind of like I remember getting out of college, and I worked in minor league baseball.
I did.
It's like,
I think.
I got my first job in minor league baseball in A ball, and then my next job was in AAA. To me, that's like this is an improvement. This is an upgrade. You're right. Did they go from A ball to the major leagues here? I don't think they were in A ball. I think they were well above A ball based on where they were. I'm just saying, yeah. I mean, nobody. That's the funny thing about this. When people start saying this isn't the old Pac-12, it's not a power league. Who's saying it is? I'm there with Adela De La Torre, the president, and JD Wicker, and they're not saying
It's not a Power 5 conference. It's not. The brand and the name of the Pac-12 is now what they are going to be pushing forward.
Yeah, and I think that's helpful too, the brand.
Yeah, and I think the brand is very important. When you think, I mean, there's a lot of fans that when you think Mountain West Conference, they don't think it's good enough, and they view it as like the little also rant in the corner, like the Mountain West Conference, even though actually the Mountain West Conference historically for the last 15 years has been a pretty good conference. But there is that perception, and a lot of times perception becomes reality. It's just the way it works, right? The perception of the Mountain West Conference hasn't been that great for a lot of people.
You're kind of like fighting to create your narrative and break barriers. You're always and establish yourself. Yeah.
The Pac-12 brand. Now stronger. It's not you don't have a conference with USC and UCLA and those, right? Yep. But you still have the Pac-12 brand that you can make into a new version that down the line people will view as like, oh, the Pac-12 brand it's not a conference that is quote unquote, I'm not gonna say embarrassing, but just like not up to the level of what we want as a school and as a fan base and as a program. The Pac-12 brand brings something to the table. I believe that 100%.
What do you guys think? What is your level of excitement? Maybe you're an Aztec, maybe you're not. Maybe you're a San Diego sports fan. Maybe you're just tuning in. 70470. You can start your message with the word team. 70470. Start it with the word team, or call us. We'd love to hear from you. We'll get to your calls on the other side. If you want to weigh in, now's the time to do it. 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760. Kyle Glazer will join us at 3:30. We'll talk about the Padres positioning with just over 2 weeks to go in the regular season at 3:30. Free picks at 4:30 from Chris Hodge, and JD Wicker, San Diego State's athletic director, will join us at 5 p.m. It's Jon and Jim. All right, we want to hear from Aztec fans. What's your level of excitement? What are your thoughts on this move, San Diego State to a reconfigured? It's a reconfigured Pac-12, and JD Wicker will join us coming up at 5 p.m. We have great giveaways today, right? Yeah. We got Hosier, right? We have Hosier tickets, so we'll give those away during Trainwreck Radio. All right, 877-767-4760. I know there's Aztec fans out there. We want to hear from you. Some of you are on the line. 877-767-4760. Let's start with Dave. Old friend Dave on line 3. Dave, thanks for calling in. You're on with Jon and Jim.
Thanks once again, guys, for having me on this rather historic day for San Diego State. I'm with you guys a little bit here. Let's face it, they're not headed to a Power 5 yet. Ultimately, I hope that is still the goal. This is about TV money, guys. And what bothers me is trying to somehow piggyback on this Pac-12 identity that really it's not real. It's something that comes out of the past. It's like trying to take a Mercedes and put a Ford body on it. You've got 6 schools here that are basically regional entities, and I don't see where or how they're going to attract major television wanna-see entities at this point. Even if you bring Cal and Stanford back, which I don't think they're going to come back, I don't think the money's there. So I think this is what it boils down to for the future. It's all about TV revenue, and that's why USC, Oregon, and those folks left, because the Big Ten was able to assemble that, as did the SEC and the other power schools.
I think
this is the difficult part.
The difference is, I think it's a very fair take and opinion from Dave. I think what we're confusing two things. SC's TV revenues in the Pac-12 weren't good enough for SC because they're trying to be at the absolute top of the pecking order in revenue. We're talking tens of millions a year from the Big Ten, like 70, 80, 90 million. San Diego State right now, I don't know the number. We'll have JD Wicker at 5 p.m. Makes 5, 6, 7 million a year on TV. They're just trying to go from 5 to 10, 6 to 11. But to San Diego State, adding $4 or $5 million per year in television revenue is massive. When you're doubling up your TV revenue, again, they're not trying to go from 5 to 60 million. They're trying to go from 5 to 10 million. But that's a big, if someone doubled, we don't make $1 million a year. Doubling $1 million to 2 is a bigger deal than doubling 50K to 100. But guess what? Doubling 50K to 100 is a pretty big deal for people that make 50K.
And even, exactly. Yeah. Like, hey, if I made 50K a year and you told me tomorrow I'm making 100,
that's a big lifestyle change.
Going out and getting drinks, and me and Aaron are having a great night.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're celebrating that.
Absolutely.
It's all I've heard is you got to get out of the Mountain West Conference. You got to get out of the Mountain West Conference. I've been there. I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Up until last night, I was like, yeah, you got, I mean,
right.
something's got to happen.
Right.
Like eventually something's got to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. Yep. They're out. They're out of the Mountain West Conference.
Just
January
like
January 1st, 2026. It's over.
They're July 1st because
July
1st.
Yeah. They are taking the best teams football wise. I mean, basketball wise, Boise State and Colorado State
are good.
They made the NCAA tournament last year, and they've been in the tournament multiple times over the last decade.
Yep.
Fresno State, not so much.
Yep.
Anyway, but you take the best schools from the Mountain West and you add them with the remaining Pac-12 schools, Washington State, Oregon State, and then you can add 2 more schools, say Memphis and Tulane. All right. That's a step up from the Mountain West Conference, and it might not be as glamorous as you would want out there. I understand. Like, yeah, everyone would want to go to maybe like the Big 12 or pipe dream the Pac-12 before it, collapsed a year ago, right? Like that was the dream, to be in the Pac-12 before it collapsed in a Power 5 conference with the Washington, Oregon, Colorado, like
Utah, Arizona. Yeah, of course.
That was the dream, but that dream died, and now you have to pivot and move on and figure out a new direction. And to me, like, I don't know about you, Jon, was there any better direction they could have gone? I mean, Big 12, okay, but that wasn't happening, and that's a false fake report that they had a deal in place with the Big 12 that is fake. I saw people in our YouTube chat saying that they turned down a deal from the Big 12 that is 100% false.
Yeah, I don't know why people have gotten hung up on that. We had Mark Ziegler on the show this week. He was the one that quoted JD Wicker, and we could talk to JD about the quote. It'll be on
Yeah.
at 5 p.m. Mark, on this very show, clarified JD's statement to say they didn't have an offer for a half share from the Big 12. The discussion centered around an idea that if they did one day have an offer, the share, the money, would only be half the money. Hence their desires to go to the Pac 12. Why? Because the Pac 12 offer would have been a full share. They would have been foolish to consider making half revenue in a league when another league was contemplating full revenue for them. That end of story. I mean, Mark Ziegler is the one that spoke with him for the story and said that. So I don't know why people have gotten so hung up on that. All right, let's go back to the phones. Want to hear from Aztec fans. Kyle Glazer, Baseball America, formerly Baseball America, will join us. We'll talk about the Padres stretch run here coming up in about 5 or 6 minutes. But let's go back to the phones. Terry is on with Jon and Jim. And Terry, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Give me 1 second. Kid, you want a better?
Okay, we got you.
Well, it's really funny that they're talking about this is not the Pac-12 and USC and UCLA left, went to the Big. Those schools are going to go to the Big Ten and disappear. I mean, the Big Ten is not the Big Ten that it once was. Now that you put in Washington and Oregon, I mean, these schools struggled out here. Now, this reconstituted Pac-12 that they're rebuilding, it will be whatever you make it out to be. So as you start to build schools back in, not sure why they put Colorado State in there, but you bring in Rice, and that pulls in Houston's market, Tulane, that pulls in that Louisiana market, Memphis for basketball and a good market. If they're very strategic in how they rebuild, this is going to be a good conference, but they've got to be smart. I mean, the Big East was once a big conference, and it imploded. I mean, the ACC, it's very tenuous what's going to happen there. So this idea that we're some kind of doom and gloom, this is the future. You better get on the merry-go-round, and you better play. And for San Diego State and getting the opportunity to get into this reconstituted system, that's where you go, and it's going to be a great thing. And
Terry,
just because it's a $5 million, $6 million thing now, I mean, wait till the new contracts come out, and let's see where you really land with these bigger media markets.
we appreciate Terry. Good call. Good. Yeah. Listen, some of the thoughts I agree with, some maybe not as much, but listen, I mean, they're better off. Like we all want to be. You know, you make whatever you make, you want to make a little more. You put this type of food on the table, you want to put better food on the table. You know what I mean? You don't always go all the way to the top immediately. Like there's a process that's in place. And I think San Diego State, like this kind of checks the box of moving up. Did they move fully up? Maybe not, but they moved up. Believe me, check the box. They've moved up. We do need to get to Kyle Glazer. Do we want to sneak in this call here or not? No, we're going to get to Kyle Glazer. Chris, if you want to call back, you can call back. We can get you coming up at 3:45, or you can stay on the line. But Kyle Glazer, Padres getting set for a big weekend series, folks, in San Francisco. Kyle Glazer, formerly Baseball America, joins us next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. Of course, the big news of the day, San Diego State is joining the Pac-12 conference. It is official. Boise State, Colorado State, and Fresno State will be joining as well. They'll join Washington State and Oregon State. Padres, they lost last night to the Mariners. They fell to the 5th seed in the wild card standings, half game behind Arizona. They have an off day today. They start a 3-game series in San Francisco tomorrow night. Taco Bell is introducing the new Cantina chicken menu with the new Cantina chicken burrito, quesadilla bowl, and taco featuring their new slow roasted chicken. Try the new Cantina chicken menu today at a participating U.S. Taco Bell locations while supplies last. Contact store for participation, which varies.
All right, it is always great to welcome back Kyle Glazer to the show for his baseball insight. Really has done a phenomenal job throughout his career covering major and minor league baseball and really knows the Padres organization very well. He's back with us here, San Diego Sports 760 and Jon Jim. Kyle, we appreciate it. You know where everything stands here. I mean, there's a couple of weeks left in the regular season. The Padres, as we all know, have played very well in the second half, but they haven't locked anything up. They're 2 games up in the loss column right now over Atlanta. They're technically 2.5 games up on a playoff spot. How do you think Padres fans should be feeling about where the Padres are situated right now in the regular season with a couple of weeks to go?
I mean, I think you have to be feeling great. This season, a lot of things went wrong that could have gone wrong, and the Padres were them. Again, they lost Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, Fernando Tatis Jr., all for extended stretches. Xander Bogaerts got hurt without most of the first half. Ha-Seong Kim took a step back. Manny Machado got off to a slow start of his career. And yet, despite all that, they kept their heads above water, and then once everyone got back to the second half, they've really taken off. So when you consider there's been a lot of times this season where things could have gone sideways and it hasn't, I think you have to feel really good about what the team has accomplished so far and also how the position is going into for the final home stretch.
Kyle, me and John had this conversation about a week ago. Really, really cool here. What is their biggest weakness right now?
Yeah, I think the potential weakness would be at the bottom of the order if some of those guys start to slump a little bit. Obviously, you feel good about Luis Arias, you feel good about Fernando Tatis Jr., you feel good about Manny Machado. Kyle Higashioka, keep it up. Elias Diaz is that addition, nice addition. I mean, I still think potentially if some guys at the bottom of the order start to struggle, and then some of the guys at the top have a bad game. But this is a well-rounded team, and I think that's what's special about this Padres team. We've seen so many versions of the Padres just not be well-rounded, have some big, big glaring holes that ultimately sunk them. In the grand scheme of things, this team is very, very well-rounded and in a good position to not only make the postseason but do some damage once they get in there.
Kyle Glazer with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We've seen Fernando Tatis Jr. really do some spectacular things the last couple of games. He's hit some big home runs. He's made some phenomenal defensive plays. Are you impressed by him just returning? I don't know if he's had I don't even know what the numbers are since he's returned. I know there's been some highs and lows, but are you impressed with what he's done in such a short period of time since coming back?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the plays we've seen him make in the outfield are very impressive when you consider, his injury is not 100% healed. There have been some games where he's moving better than others. There is a game against the Tigers last week where you could see he was kind of limping around out there, wasn't feeling 100%. But he's still been able to do some spectacular things. We saw the home run robbing catch last night. Again, he's still going to be battling his timing at the plate. There's going to be some days where he looks great, some days where it's less so, but I think as we continue to get more and more, into the season here and he gets more and more at bats, you look at the timing, he should be all locked in by the time the postseason rolls around, which is exactly what you want.
So it looks like this team will be in as a wild card unless something drastic happens with the Dodgers here. So you got pretty much 4 pitchers here for 3 spots. Now we'll have to see what happens at the end of the year in that last series versus Arizona. That could determine a lot, and both teams could be fighting for home field there potentially. But you got 4 pitchers here, Kyle. You got you, Joe, Michael King, and Dylan Cease for 3 spots in the wild card. Who's pitching those games?
Yeah, so some of that's going to come down to who has to pitch the final games of the regular season and what position the Padres are in. Musgrove, Cease, and King have shown you in terms of health and full effectiveness. Right now, I might say those are your 3. At the same time, we saw Darvish come back and pitch well in his last outing. And if he can build on that and have, a couple more good outings here toward the end of the year, you absolutely feel really good about throwing you Darvish. This is a really good problem to have, having, more good pitchers than you do spots in the starting rotation, which, again, there have been some Padres teams where that hasn't been the case. So they're in a good spot.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Kyle Glazer with us right now on Jon and Jim. What do you see the impact here of currently not having Ha-Seong Kim? I don't know how it plays out over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, Xander Bogaerts has moved over. Donovan Solano's bat has returned to the lineup. Is that, quote unquote, good enough? Or what impact would Ha-Seong Kim make for you if he does return?
Yeah, obviously this has been at times an uncharacteristically poor defensive year for Ha-Seong Kim.
Yep.
At the same time, he's still one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball when he's right. And if you can put him on the field at short, you're just going to feel better about your infield defense as a whole. Again, Xander Bogaerts filling in for a little bit is fine. In the heat of the postseason, I don't know if you want Xander Bogaerts playing short for you every day. So really, it's going to be about solidifying the infield defense, even with some of Kim's hiccups this year.
Is there any concern from you for Robert Suarez here? I mean, this is the most innings he's pitched in his major league career. Has had some hiccups here of late. Looked good the other day, but any concern for Robert Suarez?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you see a guy who's a little less dominant than he has been, again, I go back to that Tigers game last Thursday when he really struggled to get out and ended up serving up a go-ahead grand slam in the ninth inning. It's certainly been shaky, but this is why you go get Jason Adam and Tanner Scott at the trade deadline. I talked about it then that even at that point, Adrian Morejon and Jeremiah Estrada are either tied or already surpassed their career high in appearances, and now Suarez is past that point as well in terms of the most he's ever pitched. So this is why you have the bullpen depth. Whether the solution is maybe give him a few extra days, or maybe you want to play matchups toward the end of games as opposed to have your automatic ninth. You have a couple of options now, and again, having options is a good thing. There have been plenty of times the Padres have not. So again, it's a little concerning, but it's not something that I think you look at right now and say, oh gosh, this is going to sink the Padres' hopes. They have other options if for any reason he doesn't get back to 100% effectiveness.
This probably has happened previously this year for Jackson Merrill, where he's had like maybe a slower week, but it's been rare. He's been so consistent. Now I look here recently, I know he missed a game kind of due to health or injury after fouling a ball off, but even from before then, like his last 5-6 games, he's won for his last 19. I think the one was a home run in San Diego. Is that it? Are you at all concerned about Merrill's health or his recent players? It's just a small blip. It's a small sample size. No reason for any alarm.
I wouldn't be alarmed. I mean, every player has 5 or 6 game stretches where, they go into a little mini slump. He's still hitting some balls hard. Again, I'll go back to that Thursday game against the Tigers. As first at bat, he hit a ball that he thought was a home run. We all thought was a home run, just fell short of the wall. So, again, if this stretches on for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then maybe you start to be a little concerned. But, I mean, anyone and everyone has had a bad 5 or 6 game stretch at some point. I wouldn't panic.
From the Padres' perspective, Kyle, what is, I guess, the most preferred path, in your opinion, for them in the postseason?
Well, I mean, obviously, it would be to win the division and get a bye through the first round.
Right, of course, yeah. But if they can't win the division, but
yeah, I really think when you match the Padres up against almost any team in the National League field, they match up really well, and I would argue should be a favorite in almost any series, except against the Phillies. The way they match up with the Dodgers right now is actually pretty favorable, given the Dodgers' starting pitching health. I think the Padres have the edge in the rotation. They certainly have the edge in the bullpen. And the lineup is closer than you might think. The Brewers are not a team to be concerned about. I do think the Padres are a better team than the Diamondbacks. Again, the Braves are not the Braves of years past. They're losing they don't have some of their big dogs, Acuna, Strider, et cetera. And again, the Mets are a good team, but I wouldn't be concerned if I was the Padres. They have a big edge starting pitching wise. The only team that I look at and say, yeah, the Padres would and should be underdogs going into that series is the Phillies, who, as we know, have had the Padres number. So really, that's the only team you say, if there's a way to avoid them, if you can have someone else knock them out for you in the division series, that'd be great.
I wasn't expecting to ask this, but I just thought about it. Would you expect a Mike Schilt extension on the other side of this season, like 1 year tacked on or something even beyond that?
Certainly possible. Look, he's earned it. Mike Schilt has talked about this ad nauseum. He's a great manager who's been around the game for a long time, has a lot of credibility. He was a high school coach, then he was a scout, then he was a coach at every level of the minors, rookie ball, A ball, double A, triple A, coached in the majors, became a successful manager in the majors, knows how to deal with stars. He did it with Goldschmidt and Arenado. We've seen it this year in San Diego. Mike Schild is a great baseball man, and he absolutely deserves to be the manager of the San Diego Padres, and the franchise will be better for it the longer he's in town.
Yeah, he's done a very good job. There's no question about it, and I'm with you. I would be almost surprised if he didn't get another year after this year added on. Kyle, we always appreciate it. Exciting time of year for baseball fans. Hopefully we can do it again as we head towards the postseason, so thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime, guys.
Great stuff from Kyle Glazer, who, again, spent a lot of time at Baseball America, knows the Padres very well, is a great baseball voice, and he joined us here again on Jon and Jim. We can react to that. Padres off today. They're in Northern California. They're in San Francisco tomorrow for a tough test again. Logan Webb on the mound for the Giants, who just won a series here, 2-1. Now the Padres are going to Northern California, where the Giants have been very good. So we'll continue to react to Padres in their postseason pursuit, plus San Diego State to the Pac-12. JD Wicker will join us at 5 p.m. We have Hosier tickets to give away in the 4 o'clock hour. It's Jon and Jim. All right, you can listen to Aztecs football this Saturday night from Berkeley, San Diego State and Cal. Pregame at 5:30, kickoff with me and Rich at 7:30. If you're looking for more Aztecs content tonight, 6 p.m., the Sean Lewis Show right here on San Diego Sports 760 with Sean's reaction to San Diego State's move.
Hey, talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we do. Spend about 10 minutes on San Diego State ushering in a new era coming up in less than 2 years in the Pac-12. Now, you put a poll up somewhere.
I did.
Where did you put that?
I put the big poll on our Twitter page or X page, I guess.
Jon and Jim?
Jon and Jim.
Follow us. We'll follow you back. JONANDJIM.
What is your excitement level for San Diego State heading to the Pac-12?
Okay.
9 through 10, 7 through 8, 5 through 6, or 1 through 4.
Okay.
Right now, Jon, 34% are 7 to 8 on their excitement level.
I could see that.
29% are 1 through 4. Some comments on this post from Aztec Clyde saying it's a lateral move. And then another from RGT3 says it does nothing, just another S conference.
Okay.
What is your response to that, Jon?
I mean, you have to know. Here's the thing. You have to know the intricacies of what they're trying to accomplish to fully see it. My point is this. You can't compare a league. You got programs in the Mountain West that are weighing down the top of the Mountain West. Okay. That no longer exists. My point from earlier, like if San Diego State's making $6 million a year, Jim, in television, the reason they're not making more is that same 6 is going to Utah State, San Jose State, Wyoming. If those schools didn't exist, your 6 becomes 8, your 6 becomes 10. I think that's the grand plan here. By tightening it, by shrinking it, by like cutting off the bottom for the top, you're increasing and maximizing revenue. And that's basically the name of the game in today's college athletics.
Real SD on Twitter says it's a forward pass, but for 1 yard gain.
Okay. Yeah, I understand it.
I do like this text, though, 951 number. As of today, there aren't any P4 spots open, so creating the next best conference is the mission, as it gives you realistically attainable access to the playoff. Simple as that.
Let me ask you this real quick. There's about 30 power programs, Rutgers, Maryland, Vanderbilt, Northwestern. You get my point, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say there's 20 of those.
Yeah.
They have no path to the postseason in a power league because of the league they're in.
Yeah.
If you're in the 5th best league and 5 leagues are getting a playoff spot, do you have a better chance getting to the playoffs in this reconstituted Pac-12 or being Rutgers, who has much more TV money than you, but you're not sniffing the top half of the Big Ten in my lifetime?
Let me answer that for you real quick.
That's the thing. I mean,
I think today, is a day that the program entered a better conference. Like, it's just as simple as that. And if you're not excited about that and you were wanting more, well, unfortunately that's not going to happen. So it's like either you still complain about getting better and moving into a better conference, or you realize what you just said, like
it's an upgrade.
It's an upgrade. You upgraded today into a better conference with the Pac-12 name. It's not the Pac-12 of old. We all acknowledge that. It's not. But the naming of it will be, I think it'll be significant. I think it will help the conference for sure when it comes to TV deals.
Oh, absolutely.
And revenue and all of that stuff, right? That you need to have a sustainable conference.
For me, my response, the listener that said that he thought it was a lateral move, in a way, I look at it as it's a lateral move, but there's room for improvement on top of it. It's not like, oh, it's a lateral move and it's just not going to get any better, because, depending on who they add, whether it's a Tulane or, Memphis. Memphis, or even I read on ESPN earlier today, Texas San Antonio is up there, depending on who they add. So it could be lateral as of right now, but it's only
not done yet.
Exactly. They're not done yet. So it's even right now, but it's going to get better.
But it's still better than it was
it's
yesterday.
100%.
Yeah, even though it's not complete, it's still better than it was.
Yeah, and again,
And it's
like,
going to improve.
Like I'm telling you, there's a big difference in the possibilities of where they're going as opposed to where they were. I don't know. I can't see the finish line. I don't even know if the commissioner of the Pac-12 or the athletic directors can as of yet. I think it still has to be sorted through, and there's probably best case scenarios and middle scenarios, and maybe some scenarios that aren't as good. But I think some of the best case scenarios clearly create a line of distinction between the new Pac-12 and the current Mountain West for me.
Real quick before we get to Chris, I also noticed today too. I don't know if you guys noticed it. All 6 teams in the new Pac-6 or whatever you want to call it, state schools.
Yeah, all of them have state in their name.
All of them are state.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's go to the phones. Chris has been very patient. 877-767-4760 if you want to weigh in. JD Wicker, San Diego State's athletic director, will join us, by the way, at 5 p.m. Chris, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Jon, I got to agree with you, though. I mean, less is more here. I think, we got 8 good schools. They got 8 great schools coming in. You determine your own destiny. One of the biggest faults of the Mountain West was the fact that they went to the 20-game basketball schedule.
Yeah.
We're forced to play these trap games constantly. In football, I would say don't expand it past the 10. The 8. Stick with the 8. And then go determine your own destiny. We have great non-conference and hoops already in Vegas, and now we're playing Oklahoma in football.
Yep.
Why don't we make our money there as a conference? All of us can play those big programs, make money and revenue. We don't need necessarily more schools. They don't always bring in more money.
To Chris's point, real quick, because I want to make this point. If you stay at 8, and thank you, Chris, for the call. If you stay at 8, it keeps you, quote unquote, nimble. If Cal and Stanford, if something happens to the ACC, because if you go to like 16,
you're not
going like 20.
Right.
But the point I was going to make was consider this, and I don't know, maybe we can ask this to JD Wicker. I'm just thinking about this from my seat. The San Diego State repeatedly had requests of the league and repeatedly was denied. Example: 18 basketball league games. They went against the request and went to 20. They wanted more revenue from NCAA tournament victories. They've been denied that. They wanted unequal revenue sharing based on success. They, to this point, have been denied that. At some point, when the top of your league is asking for something and you don't acquiesce, they're going to look and have wandering eyes. Gonzaga gets everything they want. And guess what? They stayed in the WCC. That hasn't necessarily been the case with San Diego State. Shoot, Boise State gets $2 million a year more in TV in the Mountain West than San Diego State. It wasn't sustainable for the Aztecs.
So last night, you forced me to join your Aztec wrap-up show on YouTube.
I did.
And you also forced midnight.
Yeah, Darnay stayed on until
still
12:30.
Darnay as well. You outlined a mock schedule for a football season.
Yeah, like home schedule.
Home schedule.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you said?
Well, if you're playing everyone every other year at home, like you could have a year like this is happening in 2026. You're going to play Boise State at home. I mean, I'm making it up, but this is in 26 or 27. You have a schedule that looks like this: Boise State at home, Fresno State at home, Oregon State at home. The new teams that we don't know about, let's just say Memphis at home. Let's say your non-conference team is Missouri at home, and then an FCS opponent, which 130 teams all play. That's a really legitimate home schedule. You invested $300 million in Snapdragon Stadium. When you upgrade your opponents, you're bringing people into your venue.
And you create now an every year rivalry that is the old oil can.
Yeah, that would be played every year. Yep.
And you also didn't mention, too, you can swap the following season. Oklahoma will be on the schedule as well.
2020s.
So, all you hear is they got to upgrade their schedule at Snapdragon Stadium. No one wants to go watch Air Force versus San Diego State on a Saturday night at 7:30.
And now that's not happening.
Not happening anymore.
Yeah.
You're getting Boise, you're getting Fresno State, you're getting Washington State, you're getting Oregon State, you're getting that out of conference Power 5 game, and then you will get an FCS opponent, but everybody gets an FCS opponent.
Yeah, exactly. All right, more reactions to that. We'd love to hear from you on our text line 70470. Start it with team, or on X at Jon and Jim, or Instagram JONANDJIM, or call us 877-767-4760. Our buddy Chris Hodge taking Vegas, who I think is 3-1 with his free pick so far this year, is back at 4:30. JD Wicker at 5 p.m. The wrap is next to kick off hour 2. Stay with us.
All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. Of course, the big news of the day, San Diego State is joining the Pac-12 along with Boise State, Colorado State, and Fresno State. They're going to join with Washington State and Oregon State. Padres, they lost last night to the Seattle Mariners in their quick 2-game series. They had a split there. They have an off day today before they start a 3-game series in San Francisco versus the Giants starting tomorrow night. And tonight is the Sean Lewis Coaches Show with John Rich and Coach Lewis. They'll, of course, be talking about San Diego State joining the Pac-12. You can listen to that interview right here on San Diego Sports 760. Taco Bell is introducing the new Cantina Chicken menu with the new Cantina Chicken Burrito, Quesadilla Bowl, and tacos featuring their new slow roasted chicken. Try the new Cantina Chicken menu today at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations while supplies last. Contact store for participation, which varies.
It's time. Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2 of Jon and Jim. We're giving away Hosier tickets this hour. It's a sold-out show. It's actually Saturday, 2 days away. So that's a really cool opportunity for a sold-out show at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Weekend show that's sold out. We'll give those away during Trainwreck Radio this hour. We got a really good couple of hours, guys. We got Chris Hodge, who's, I think, 3-1 with his free picks for our listeners at 4:30. We have JD Wicker, San Diego State's athletic director, who, remember, when he got here was like, we're going to build a new facility. We're going to improve our athletic conference. Like, I mean, you think about some of the things that they've been talking about for a long time that are coming to fruition. Again, so he said it today. Not everything's a straight line, but JD Wicker is going to join us coming up today at 5 p.m. And then we have JB Long, voice of the Rams, because we have the Rams this weekend right here on San Diego Sports 760, right? Against Arizona?
Every weekend.
If they play every weekend.
Every time
Thursdays.
Every time the Rams play this year, they can be heard on San Diego Sports 760, John.
And they were in a very good game week 1. That Sunday night game, that overtime game against Detroit. This is a spot where if you're the Rams, you're not trying to start 0-2. Like, this is a big game for LA.
It's a big game. And also they have a bunch of injuries. So we will see what happens there. You want to know what games we have this weekend on the station, John?
Let me see. Do I want to know what games our listeners can listen to?
Saturday, 9 a.m., Alabama at Wisconsin.
Kind of intriguing, right?
Pretty intriguing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, 5:30 is when our pregame starts for Cal and San Diego State. Sunday, Raiders and Ravens at 9:30 a.m. That's when our coverage starts. And then 1:05 p.m., Rams at Cardinals. So.
All right, so college football, NFL, all weekend long right here on San Diego Sports 760, including San Diego State and Cal, as Jim just said. All right, so we'll get to the wrap here momentarily. Again, it's the Padres off day. There's a few of them here still in there. They've moved around the rotation a little bit. That's why Michael King threw yesterday. They're expecting to get Martin Perez back from paternity lists coming up here this weekend in San Francisco. I'm really intrigued by the Friday night pitching matchup we just saw, Jim, which was Dylan Cease, Logan Webb, that the Padres lost at Petco Park. And I said last night in the wrap-up show, and this is truly how I feel, like a second chance for Dylan Cease, who has not been great here over the last month plus. Big start for Dylan Cease, I would say, tomorrow night. Big start.
And just real quick, there's nobody of consequence tonight playing.
No one. None of the teams. The Mets, Braves, you're right. Arizona. It's weird. Very weird.
Everything is idle.
Yeah, and there's like 8 games in baseball, but none of them matter truly for the Padres. Yeah.
Correct. So they go in tomorrow still, half game behind Arizona.
Right.
Game back in the loss column. And they are, game and a half up on the Mets, I believe?
I think that's right. And 2.5 up on Atlanta?
Correct. So, yeah, you got to have a good series this weekend versus the Giants. If you lose 2 of 3 versus them, I mean, Monday, it could be very bad. Like, you haven't been playing really good baseball. You've playing okay baseball. You've 13-12 since your 19-3 stretch out of the second half. And I just feel like if they stay consistent, they're going to make the postseason, because that would mean the Braves need to go play some amazing baseball. Kevin had it in his article today about the records and what they need to do. And let me just pull it up real quick just to make sure I have this right. But the Braves need to play some damn good baseball. If the Padres, let's just say they go 9-6 in their final 15 games, Atlanta would need to finish 13-3.
Which is great. I mean, I still think 9-6 may be asking a bit much, considering they're 13-12.
8-7.
8-7 means they would have to go 12-4, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Which is still very good. And Who is it that plays the Phillies 7 times? It's the Mets that play the Phillies
Mets,
7 times.
And Atlanta this weekend plays the Dodgers up in LA.
Right.
So now you're thinking to yourself, it's not about rooting for the Dodgers. It's about rooting for the Braves to lose. It's okay. Like, I understand it. If there was a chance to maybe get back in this division, I would probably think otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the Braves do sweep the Dodgers this weekend, highly unlikely. And if the Padres did sweep the Giants, not highly unlikely, but it's hard. It's a big
You're
ask.
asking for a lot.
You're asking for a lot.
Perfectly come together.
Then, yeah, okay. You want to talk about Monday? I mean, they're 5.5 back now. The Dodgers, they would be 2.5 back on Monday if that were to happen.
I'm not looking there.
I mean, either.
I'm looking towards the postseason with the wild card right now. If it all comes together, great. We've given up on it a lot.
Sorry, they're playing for 4.
They do.
Yeah,
Atlanta, but we've given up on the division so many times. I'm not going to put it back into the ether yet. If they somehow do it, if the Padres want to close 13-2, more power to them. I hope we see it. And if they do that, they'll put real pressure on LA. But barring something like 13-2, and by the way, you got to go to LA, you got to go to Arizona, you have Houston, you've got a road series in San Francisco. Like, I'm not excited. 13-2 is not really my goal. My goal is to see them, to your point. You go 9-6, you're not getting past. Like, that should be the goal. Like, put pressure on these teams behind you. Actually, prevent these teams that are behind you from having any shot. And if you go 9-6, I'm confident Atlanta's not closing whatever you said, 13-2 or 12-3 or whatever it is.
So, like, 91 wins is kind of what we've been talking. That's 91 wins right there.
And which is the most wins in over a quarter century for the team, if they do get to 91 wins. All right, again, Chris Hodge taking Vegas. Free picks at 4:30 right now, though, guys. Let's get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Who will San Diego State's biggest rival be in the Pac-12?
Well, considering it's like a rivalry game when they play,
It is. Yep.
I would have to say right now, Fresno State.
I agree. My only thought is Boise State and San Diego State has gotten good across all sports. Basketball, Boise has been great.
More basketball than
But
football.
football, no, San Diego State's won on the blue 2 times, which is like unheard of around the country.
Yeah.
Like, they're like 2-3 up there.
But what makes basketball, I feel like, more of a rivalry is because they play,
play multiple times.
You play every year.
But
You
in
don't do
this
that in
new
Boise.
league,
You will, I know.
yeah, if you're facing Boise State 10 straight years in football, which is never, and they've only met, like, making it up, I'd have to 10 times, 9 times.
Yeah.
Like, that's not enough.
I know.
But if over the next 10 years, Boise State and San Diego State go back and forth, home and home for the next 10 years, that has the makings of being something that's pretty special for me. I'm with you. Fresno State is a legitimate, non-forced 2 California state schools going at it for dozens of games historically. There have been really epic games in that series. That's a very good series. But I think you could add another series in there that would be really good, and that would be Boise State, San Diego State.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I just think right now with it already built in,
Yeah, it's built in, yeah.
it just
Do you close every year with it? I think I might close every year with San Diego State, Fresno State.
I that was something that I was kind of, on the table, like put my hand on the table
Right.
here, like, hey, why is Fresno State not playing San Diego State every single year?
Unbalanced,
I
so
know,
many teams,
I know.
Yeah.
Well, then you never know. We play Oregon State and Washington State
True.
every year. One
Yeah.
of them,
Could emerge.
just through
You're right.
just the way the games
That's
play out,
exactly
could end
right.
up as a new rival.
Yeah, like actually, I'll give you an example of that. Utah USC in the Pac-12 became a great series. Utah beat USC a lot. I think when Utah came into the league, you're not like, hey, Utah USC is going to be this great series. It became a phenomenal series in the Pac-12. Next question.
Who's going to win tonight's Thursday night football game between the Bills and the Dolphins?
Well, I know
It's the Dolphins by 2.5.
Devon
Okay.
Achane was out of practice this week, but I believe he's going to play tonight. This one's, in Miami.
Yep.
I don't know the weather for this game. Is it?
It's supposed to
September's
be
always rain.
it's supposed to be rainy, and
Okay.
it's supposed to clear out though by around halftime.
Yeah.
That's
86
what it was when we
degrees.
had Fletch did it.
So like a hot
Humid.
rain,
It's very humid. Yeah.
rain. I'm gonna go with tonight. I'll go with the Dolphins just because.
Josh Allen's hand
Yeah,
Mm.
Josh Allen's
or
hand.
his wrist or whatever.
Yeah.
I think last year when the Bills went to Miami and they needed to win that game and they beat the Dolphins and it hurt the Dolphins, I think, that was later in the season. And right now you're still trying to define who you are. And I think Dolphins with Tyreek healthy, Jalen Waddle healthy. Again, I don't know the status of Devon Achane or Raheem Mostert, but I'll take Miami tonight.
I'm going to bet on Mr. Thursday Night. Josh Allen's never lost. 6-0. 6-0 in his career on Thursday Night Football. And I want
He's
to
the
say
anti-Kirk Cousins.
I want to say also on Thursday, against Miami, Buffalo's been pretty darn good with Josh Allen. So I'm just going to bet on the Bills, kind of a coin flip game. Bet on Josh Allen in this one and take the Bills on the road. Next question.
How many rushing yards will Marquez Cooper have this weekend against Cal?
Well, I think to stay in the game and to have a chance, he's going to need at least over 100. Maybe even closer to like 125, 130. I'll go with over under right now, 85. I'm going to take slightly under, but I also think that they will incorporate more of the running backs on the team instead of just Marquez Cooper. I'll go with 84.
84 rush yards?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's a good total. I would say, listen, he had some runs negated by penalty last week, and he still went for 50-something. He had 4 9-yard runs or longer negated. So he would have another 40 or 50 yards. I think he goes for between 80 and 100, and I think that's pretty good work on the road against a power opponent, and I think that hopefully will keep you in the game. He's capable. I mean, we saw the Texas A&M Commerce. We've seen his career numbers, the 4,000 yards. I'd love to see him go over 100. I think it really gives San Diego State a decent shot on the road Saturday night. But yeah, I'll say roughly 90 to 100 yards for Marcus.
I mean,
Cooper.
it's the classic, Pac-12 ACC matchup this weekend.
It is Pac-12 ACC after dark in Berkeley, 7:30 Pacific. Next question.
A tradition like no other, like
Right.
the Masters. Is this weekend's series in San Fran a must-win for the Padres?
When do you start going must-win series, John? For
Well, this show 3 months ago.
I know,
True. I mean,
every
I
day.
probably would, if they lost this series, I would probably tell you Houston is.
I think for their goals and aspirations of that 4 seed, home field, I don't see how every series from here out isn't considered a must-win.
Right.
I mean, you're fighting for, 1, your playoff lives, and 2, positioning to get home field and play here at Petco Park. So, to me, you got 5 series left. No, sorry, 6 series left, right? 1, 2, 3.
I think 5.
5 series left, my bad. You have 5 series left. They are all must-win series, in my opinion.
I understand it. To get to 4 seed, you might be right. Let me put it this way. I'm not going to be confident if they lose this series in San Francisco. I'm just not. Not to say everything's over, but they would have work to do in their final 4 series if they lose 2 of the next 3 games. There's a distinct possibility of that.
If they win every series, 2 out of 3, you're 10-5.
They're the 4 seed.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's pretty much must win, because 10-5, you get that. You feel like they're for the 4
Yeah,
seed.
because you're going through Arizona. You're probably winning a series against them. I agree with you. Yeah. All right, more on that. Padres and Giants, what do they need to do over the final 15 games of the regular season? Plus, Chris Hodge from TakingVegas.com at 4:30 with 2 free picks for our listeners. And San Diego State's athletic director, JD Wicker, on this big-time day for San Diego State, moving on to the Pac-12 in 2026. He'll join us at 5 p.m. It's Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim. It's been a really busy week, and it was awesome earlier in the week, actually yesterday, to swing by Hamul Casino. We had lunch in the Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, which is spectacular. You need to get there. The food is incredible. The drinks, the televisions, they have everything you could possibly want. And how about this? This football season, every Monday in September, you've got a chance to win. You can win big with Monday Night Live $100,000 punch out.
Yeah, I had the Slam Diego burger. It was delicious.
And it
with
was
garlic
huge.
fries. Oh my God. It was the perfect burger to have to watch a game on game day. go to Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. They just opened a new Chinese restaurant, Emerald. Humboldt Casino, it's a great place. You got to get there for food and gambling. But like you said, John, they have 10 winners every hour at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m. Your odds are better than ever. Plus, earn entries all month long by playing and get 2 times your entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 cash for all winners and a chance to win up to $100,000. You guys will not want to miss this.
And Humul's, we've been talking about, they've got this endless dining 5 nights a week. Their endless dining options include Saturday surf and turf buffet. They're going over the top, perfect combinations of succulent steaks, delectable seafood, a wide array of mouth-watering food offerings.
I forgot to mention the steakhouse they have there, which I was told it's amazing. Yep. I cannot wait to go to that. Get to Humboldt Casino all football season long, including every Monday night for Monday Night Live $100,000 punch out. Humboldt Casino, it's fun above all else.
All right, Chris Hodge taking Vegas will join us in about 10 minutes. Some free NFL and college picks for our listeners. JD Wicker, looking forward to catching up with JD at 5 p.m. Something JD's been working on for a long time. He referenced it today at the press conference. They were so optimistic for what the Pac-12 held in the moment in August of 2023, and then it unraveled. And here we are a year later, and it's funny how things kind of work. It's different. We've talked about that a lot. But JD Wicker will join us at 5. Then JB Long. We'll talk some Rams Cardinals week 2 football with JB, because you can hear the Rams this weekend right here on San Diego Sports 760. We've been talking about the 15 games remaining here for the Padres beginning this weekend in San Francisco. The thing that we mentioned with Seattle applies to San Francisco. You're like, Seattle's been blah. They blew a 10-game divisional lead. Okay, then you look further in the numbers. Their pitching's elite and their home record's elite. Say the same thing with San Francisco. Like, that team's blah. Yeah, they've disappointed, Bob Melvin, this, that, and the other. And then you look further into it, you're like, well, actually, some of their starting pitching has been elite, and their home record, Jim, we've talked about this, has been really, really good, surprisingly good, in my opinion, considering their overall record.
They're 41-33 at home with 11 walk-offs.
It's It's really good. Yeah.
Most in all of baseball. I don't
Mhm.
think anybody's topped that.
No way. 11's amazing.
I meant like since I've seen that they were on the top.
I thought Padres had an amazing number. What was it, 7 or 8?
8.
That's huge.
No, 9. Sorry, 9.
Okay, well,
They've
that's
had 9.
huge.
Yeah, they've had 9 walk-offs.
I can't imagine having 11.
Well, they, 41 and 33. That's a better home record than the Padres have.
Right. Yep.
And so you're looking at this right now where you are navigating the final 15 games of your season against all good, like, I'm not gonna say good teams because the Giants I don't consider like a good team. I consider them a good team at home, though.
Yep.
Houston on the road, John, is 36 and 36, so they're 500.
It's decent. Yep.
Decent.
Mm-hmm.
And then White Sox, they're the worst team in
They're
baseball
terrible.
by a mile.
Yeah.
And obviously, you got to go on the road to finish up with the Dodgers, who have one of the best home records, and then Arizona, which, I mean, their offense is no joke for sure. They have some good pitching, and it's always been a struggle to play in Arizona for the Padres. Like, it just always is a struggle. Just like Colorado has been a struggle, Arizona, it's just not easy to play.
Right. So Arizona's 41 and 31 at home. To your point on the Dodgers, they're a really impressive 48 and 27 at home. The Giants, like you just referenced, 41 and 33 at home. Houston, 33 and 33, whatever it was, on the road. The only gimme is the White Sox, and it's sitting out there like you have to sweep the series.
Yeah.
Like, there is no alternative. I don't want to hear about 2 out of 3. I mean, I guess if the other teams around you collapse and you win 2 out of 3 and everything's fine either way, okay. But the way I look at it today, I'm like, with all the uncertainties of the other series, you need 3 wins against the Chicago White Sox to wrap up the home schedule.
And on the flip side, the Padres are one of the better road teams in baseball. So, playing 9 games on their 15 remaining on the road, it's not like they're a bad road team. They're actually really, really good. 42 and 30 on the season on the road. And I feel confident when they play on the road. Just as of late, like, there's kind of been average. Like, it's just 13 and 12. They're back and forth. And that's not going to, like, I don't know if that's going to lock them in the 4 seed. It might get them there if Arizona and the Mets, they don't, whatever. But like, if you truly want to just like control your own destiny, got to be better than that.
I agree. And listen, you've been very confident for a long time, rightfully so.
Oh, I'm confident.
They haven't been passed by 3 teams.
They're making the postseason in my mind.
I'm confident as well. But I did mention, like, crazier things. Like, you don't want to. My point in saying that isn't to say, like, not to be a fear monger. My point in saying that is stop losing series to teams like San Francisco at home. And now that you have lost a series like San Francisco at home, now go get one. That's not the easiest, because these last 3 series, right? A split against Seattle, a lost series against the Giants. And what was the series before that? Didn't we say that it's 3 straight series that they've either lost or tied heading into this?
And then before that was also the Giants.
So Seattle, San Francisco, and what was before San Francisco?
Sorry. Seattle Giants, they won a series versus the Tigers.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
They won a series versus Tampa. They split a series versus St. Louis.
Okay.
And then they split a series versus the Mets. And then
it's all good. I mean, they have all the pieces in place. The way Tatis has played the last couple of days, the starting pitching that they're throwing out there essentially every 5th day, the bullpen they have, the Xander Bogaerts, a lot of positives.
And we had Kyle Glazer on earlier in the show. He said the one team that scares him the most from the Padres' perspective is the Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
I would also put the Mets in there too.
Because of how they've played against the Padres this year?
Yeah, the Phillies and Mets are the 2 teams that have played the Padres really well.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers, the Padres already have clinched the season series versus them. They've played the Dodgers straight up all season long. Whenever they play the Dodgers, they played really good against them.
Right.
Like, there's been maybe 1 game where it was kind of a laugher as far as like it in favor of the Dodgers. But all in all, every single game they have matched up with the Dodgers very, very well. And I think they do have parts of their team that are better than the Dodgers. But the Mets and the Phillies, those are the 2 teams that scare me the most in the National League at this point in time, especially if the Mets are going to just steamroll their way into the postseason here with how they played of late, which it looks like they're going to do, and knock out Atlanta. Like, I'd much rather have Atlanta make the postseason than the Mets.
I think the Phillies will have something to say about that too, because they're going to play the Mets 7 times. So we'll see how the Mets play in those series. But yeah, Mets have played really well. And yeah, we've both said, like, hey, I think they're capable of making a run. They're capable of beating anyone that they play in the National League. And I do think it's true. But the issue is a lot of teams in the National League are very similar to San Diego with very comparable records. So again, tomorrow night, game 1 of a 3-game series in San Francisco. We'll take a timeout. Chris Hodge taking Vegas. He's been great for our listeners with his free picks. I'll have 2 more free picks for you coming up on the other side. He's 3-1 for our listeners. He'll join us coming up next at 5 p.m. JD Wicker, San Diego State's athletic director. It's Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim. This is a great time for sports fans, including tonight, Thursday night football, NFL, college football, MLB playoffs are coming. And with Underdog Fantasy, you can win crazy money. I'm talking about 325 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player's stats.
And there's a special play tonight, but the only way you get it, you got to download the Underdog Fantasy app. You got to use our promo code Jon and Jim, and you get an opportunity to get a special play here of higher than a half total passing yard. Josh Allen, I think that's going to hit.
He's throwing for at least 2 yards.
Right, I think he's going to throw for at least 2 yards. So download the Underdog Fantasy app right now. Use our promo code Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. You get that special play of a higher than a half total yard for Josh Allen pass.
Yeah, they're basically giving you a winner. And go to the mobile app, underdogfantasy.com, and just post the promo code JONANDJIM. And Underdog's giving you the highly discounted pick. They're giving you a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. Again, the promo code is JONANDJIM. Claim your new customer offer for Gimme First Pick and your deposit offer.
You must be 18 or older and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Term with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.com. All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. Big news of the day. San Diego State is joining The Pac-12, along with Boise State, Colorado State, and Fresno State, teaming up with Washington State and Oregon State. More moves to come there. Padres, they lost last night to the Seattle Mariners. They have dropped to the 5th seed in the wild card standings, below Arizona by a half a game. They have an off day today, and every team of consequence, the Padres, has an off day today. They return the action tomorrow night in San Francisco against the Giants, where Dylan Cease will be on the mound against Logan Webb. And tonight, 6 p.m., is the Sean Lewis Coaches Show with John Rich and Coach Lewis, 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. Taco Bell is introducing the new Cantina Chicken menu with a new Cantina Chicken burrito, quesadilla bowl, and tacos featuring their new slow roasted chicken. Try the new Cantina Chicken menu today at a participating U.S. Taco Bell locations while supplies last. Contact store for participation, which varies.
All right, Chris Hodge back with the Shot at Jim, San Diego Sports 760 here on weekends right here on the station. Go check him out at takingvegas.com. He's been off to a very good start here in 2024 for our listeners. 2 weeks in, the free plays, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, I think you're 3-1 on your free plays. Now, last week, you had a win with the Chargers. You did lose on Michigan, but through 2 weeks, you're 3-1 with your free picks. And you're giving out another free pick on the text line tonight. You'll have free plays on the radio coming up as well. So I guess let's start with what we have going on here tonight. What's your free pick tonight with Thursday Night Football kicking off in less than an hour?
Well, always good to be with you guys. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Buffalo, Miami, your AFC East matchup there. And interesting line there with Miami -2.5, since the Bills have owned that series in the last 14. I believe they're like 12-2 or 11-3. So Buffalo has absolutely owned Miami. But we're giving this play out absolutely free. It's on the text line. So if they text the word win to the number 545454, they will get this pick for free. And I just want to reiterate, we're in the world of technology, right? There's no one to talk to here, guys. The pick, we want you to have it. If you text the word win to the number 545454, it will come right back to you instantly. Tonight's winner between Buffalo and Miami, and we hope to hit this one for you guys.
Love it. All right, Chris, let's get to college here, and your free play in college, Ole Miss and Wake Forest. What's your thoughts on that game?
So for the life of me, I don't know how this game stays under the posted total.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this should be, and I know sometimes overs, you could got a couple sucker bets there, but there is really no way that Wake Forest can stop Ole Miss. And I say that because Virginia is terrible, and Wake Forest just gave up 430 yards to them, 357 yards in the air. They gave up 23 first downs and 31 points. Virginia is awful. Ole Miss's offense is not Virginia, right? But here's what a lot of people don't realize about Wake Forest. In their 2 games, they have almost 1,000 yards of total offense. And Ole Miss, they tend to get in some shootouts with their offense where they'll just score and then they just give up points quick and then they just come back and score again. And this total right here is sitting at 64.5. I have to figure Ole Miss is going to be in the 40s, maybe low 50s in this game. That's how bad Wake Forest's defense is. And Wake Forest at home, an experienced quarterback and some experienced wide receivers there. I believe they're going to be able to get their points on Ole Miss and maybe some points late. So I think over 64.5. I actually think they're giving you guys money with that one. That should be an easy one.
All right. So Chris Hodge, takingvegas.com, is with us. Again, if you want tonight's free pick, that's Buffalo, Miami, Thursday Night Football within the hour. All you have to do is text the word win, W-I-N, to 545454. That's text win to 545454. You get the play back between Buffalo and Miami coming up tonight within the hour. And then, of course, the NFL schedule continues this weekend. There's always interest in America's team, the Cowboys and Saints on Sunday. You've got a free play for our listeners right now for that one as well. What do you got in that one?
Yeah, so here's the thing with this. I don't like the Cowboys. I never have.
Same.
They're going to win this game, because, look, New Orleans, what they just did to Carolina and, Bryce Young and that whole group over there. I mean, that shouldn't even count. I don't care if they won that game 147-10. It's meaningless to me. They really played a JV team in terms of what the NFL is, right? Now, Cleveland's not much better. Okay, they had some problems with their quarterback there, but Dallas's defense is a real problem. And we're going to say that all year long. That defense is a problem. New Orleans is not going to be able to run the ball like they were able to run on Carolina. Derek Carr has never been, great against good defenses. He beats up on bad defenses like he did last week, going 19 for 23 against Carolina. It's meaningless, right? Dallas under a touchdown here. They're going to be a problem this year. I'm not saying that they're going to be better than San Francisco or even Philadelphia. But Dallas is going to be a problem this year. The defense is very good. The Saints, just caught Carolina, and that was a glorified preseason game for them. So I think up front on both sides of the ball, offensive line, defensive line, Dallas has the advantage. Dallas has the advantage in the secondary. Dallas has the advantage in quarterback play. It's going to take a lot for the Saints to stay in this game. I think Dallas gets it done by 14, 31, 17, somewhere in that area. So we'll lay the 6.5 and go with Dallas.
Chris, can you tell our listeners about your initial bankroll program and what that entails?
Yeah, so I've come on this radio show, and sometimes I want to apologize because sometimes I know I sound like a broken record, and we're trying to make it interesting for the listeners, get good ratings, right?
Of course.
And I say the same things over and over, and that's don't bet like a lunatic, don't be an idiot, don't do what your enemy wants you to do. I've said that, but I haven't given you guys, okay, what's the basis behind that? What is the program behind that? So, I thought that would be a good thing. So, we do our programs in sets of threes. Okay, so let's just say you had $1,000, right? Now, we all have to understand there is a risk when it comes to sports wagering. Whether you use me or not, there is still a risk, okay? So if you put $1,000 on your first game, you risk $1,000, right? Now, in the second game, we tell our people in the program to bet $2,000. So first game wins, you have $2,000. Second game wins, now you have $4,000. You have your original $1,000. You have a $3,000 profit. What we instruct all of our clients to do is take your original $1,000 back. So now you're whole. You have your $1,000 that you were going to risk is back in your pocket. And you could do one of two things now. You could take your $3,000 and walk away, and you made 3 times your investment. Or what we say to do is take that $3,000, which is now someone else's. You want it from someone else, okay, and put that $3,000 on game 3. Now, we did that 16 times last year, all right? We went 10-6, so it doesn't sound overly impressive, right? But you have to look within the numbers. 10 times we went 3-0. 6 times we did not. So just do the math. If you turned $1,000 into $6,000 10 times, okay, you made $60,000.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
All you lost on the 6 times we lost was $5,000 to $6,000 because one of those times we lost the last game. So just doing that program, just like that, last year, a $1,000 player would netted close to $55,000 if he started from day one. Now, the numbers fluctuate from when a person signs up, but that's the program, and that's what we try to have everyone follow. We always say don't gamble irresponsibly. Don't bet parlays. Don't go crazy. Have a money management system. Well, that's our program, and we've had great success with it through the years. And like I said last week and the week before, we've proven it, so no one can tell me otherwise.
So, Chris, one final time, though, again, for our listeners tonight, if they want Buffalo, Miami, they go where? What do they do to get Buffalo, Miami tonight, Thursday Night Football?
Pull out the cell phone. Everyone has it. They give these things for free nowadays. So I know people got them, right?
Yep.
So just text the word win to the number 545454. Again, simple. Text the word win to the number 545454. Instantly, you will receive the side. We're not on the total tonight. We have the side between Buffalo and Miami. So win that one. It gave you guys the over in the Ole Miss game. Win that one. Gave you guys Dallas. Win that one. Hopefully it's a 3-0 weekend for you guys. And, hopefully you guys give us a call and want to get signed up with the business program. And I think it'll be successful for you.
Chris Hodge taking Vegas every Thursday at 4:30 with us right here on Jon and Jim. Every weekend as well on San Diego Sports 760 throughout football season. Chris, always appreciate it. Enjoy the football this weekend. We'll do it again next Thursday.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, I still don't think Aaron Judge has hit a home run.
Is that right?
That's crazy.
Is that
That's
right?
crazy.
Well,
what did you guys do to me with that one?
That's your fault. We're not taking.
So
any
that's 2 weeks running.
That's all you,
Will
man.
he ever homer again?
Oh man, that's so bad.
That is incredible. Wow, I didn't realize that.
You guys have a great night.
Appreciate
guys.
you, Chris.
Thanks,
all right,
man.
Chris Hodge taking Vegas again. If you want that pick tonight, text win to 545454. How many home runs is he sitting on, Aaron Judge, right now?
Let me check.
Is he still on only like 100 or whatever he said this year? Is it still a big number?
Still, it's 51 still.
That is crazy.
51.
By the way, his WAR for the season, even stuck on 51, is 9.5.
His last 15 games, John, he's hit 196. and he has 0 home runs,
That's crazy.
and he has a slugging percentage of 255.
That's wild.
So here's my question: when are they going to start not pitching to Ohtani?
With the 50-50 you're saying coming?
Well, yeah, because he's going to catch up to Judge since they're not pitching to him. So when are they just going to go, hey, this is kind of working, not pitching to Judge. Let's not pitch to Ohtani.
Are they not pitching to Judge, or is he just not hitting? Because I'm sure he's walking more, but even what Jim's saying, he's hitting sub 200 for his last 15 games. And that happens with power hitters specifically, too. I mean, Judge has had that before, obviously, but that is kind of surprising. He was pacing for the 60-plus home run season, and now
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Bum.
Not anymore. All right. Oh, yeah. Don't say that.
I'm just kidding.
All right. Coming up, how about your chance to win tickets to a sold-out show, Hosier? You need to call right now if you want them. The number to call is 877-767-4760. This is for this Saturday. Basically, 2 days from right now, 48 hours from right now, we have 2 tickets to a sold-out Hosier concert at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. First 2 callers will be our contestants. Here's the number to call. 877-767-4760. Again, 877-767-4760. 2 free tickets to a sold-out Saturday night show of Hosier at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. So we'll do Trainwreck Radio. That's trivia. On the other side, then JD Wicker, San Diego State's athletic director, at 5 p.m. 877-767-4760. That's next. up with the Talkback mic. Just open the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to San Diego Sports 760. Tap that little microphone icon next to the play button to leave a 30-second talkback. Also, this reminder: Sean Lewis show tonight, 6 p.m. Me and Rich down with Sean Lewis. We're looking back at Oregon State. We're looking at Saturday night against California in Berkeley. It's coming up right after Jon and Jim. 6 p.m. San Diego Sports.
Any clue if I've mentioned that today during the updates?
No idea. I haven't been listening.
Of course,
JD Wicker
He has.
He's mentioned it.
every
Yes.
single one.
Let me guess. Your update's probably like Warriors.
We've Pavlov dogged him. To where
Warriors
he's got it in there
preseason
now.
schedule has the Jazz twice, and the Padres play tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
How'd you guess?
JD Wicker coming up in 10 minutes from, I believe, the Bay. He is in Northern California now tonight. So with JD joining us in 10 minutes, let's get to this.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's two contestants. We have Jacob and DJ. Jacob, you called in first, so you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
So I called in. What's the question?
So you get to choose. Do you want to play with Jon or Jim in this game? Todd.
He said Jon, I think.
Jon. Todd or Jon, whatever.
All
All
right.
right, Jacob and Todd. Jon.
Jacob, you get Todd. DJ, you get Jim, okay?
All right, that's great. Let's
All right, Brent, what's the question of the day?
All right, guys, before the Pac-12 was the Pac-12, there was only 8 members in the original Pac-12. And so today's question, name the original members of the Pac-8.
All right. So
I like
name
it.
the original members of the Pac-8. This was a conference that was called the Pac-8 at one
Yep,
point, and then
and
the
then
Pac-10,
Pac-10,
and then now in the Pac-12.
Yep.
DJ, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
God. UCLA.
UCLA on the list. Boom.
Yep.
There you go.
All right, there's an original member.
Jacob, you're up next. What is your first guess? Do you have a lifeline, which is Todd, if you want to use it?
USC.
USC.
It's USC. Yes.
On the list. DJ, back to you. Second guess. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Washington.
Washington. Boom.
Boom.
On the list. Jacob, back to you, buddy. You what's your next guess? You do have a lifeline, which is Todd, if you want to use it.
Stanford.
Stanford.
Well done.
All right. DJ, to go 3 for 3 here. Final guess. You do still have your lifeline. You can use your lifeline if you want.
Yeah, sure. I'll try the lifeline.
San Diego State is playing them this weekend. University of Cal.
You take that.
You take that, Cal.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
Boom on
Good
the
job,
list.
Jim.
Thank you.
Jacob, you could send this thing to overtime. What's your final guess? And Todd is your lifeline if you want to use it.
I'll use the lifeline.
All right.
All right, Todd.
All right. Who's off the board? SC, UCLA, Stanford, Cal, and which school Brent's off the list was Washington?
Washington.
All right. I will go with Washington. I'll go with Washington State. Would you take Washington State?
I think it's Washington.
Washington, yes. Washington, Brent, is on the list.
Washington's been named, right?
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah.
already.
So I'm
sorry.
saying
Oh,
saying Washington State. Do you
So
take Holy moly.
I'm saying UW. Yeah, the Huskies.
No, somebody already
already
said
been
that.
mentioned.
It's off the list.
Oh, so it'd be Washington State next. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what he said.
All right. Washington State. Are the Cougars on it? They are.
Good job,
Wow.
Todd. There we go. All right. So
Thank
we are
you.
going to overtime now, since you guys both got 3
Way to earn
correct
your
answers.
keep, Todd.
Yeah. Brent, what is the overtime rules in the question?
Hold on, real quick. It's SC, UCLA, Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, Washington State.
Yes.
Now let's continue
Okay.
because that's all late.
All right, guys. The way overtime is going to work is I'm going to ask you another question. When I'm done asking the question, you're going to yell out the name of your partner today, either Todd or Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever yells out the name of their partner first, you are going to either win the game by getting the question right, or you're going to lose the game by getting the question wrong. Do you guys got it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Today's overtime question. Name a school other than the Aztecs that was admitted to the Pac-12 today.
Jim.
I heard Jim.
All right. I didn't hear Todd.
DJ, what do you got?
Oh shit.
It's all right.
Let's try not
It's
to
all right.
guess.
Yeah.
Boise State.
Boise State. Is that correct? It is for the win.
There we go.
DJ, despite cursing, has won.
Yeah, guys, it's live radio.
There's a reason we call it Trainwreck Radio.
Yeah,
because it always is.
Just remember,
well, whatever.
You're on live radio.
Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State joining San Diego State in the newly configured Pac-12 conference with two original members in Oregon State and Washington State that have been in it since the 1960s.
It's like Journey.
It's like Journey. It's the exact same thing.
Two original members.
It's exactly like
so,
that.
do we have to change the name of the show now?
To what?
Todd
and Jim?
Yeah.
That's fine.
I like it. The rebranding, though.
I would rather change the name of the show to
Todd and John.
Jon and Jim After Dark.
Ooh.
For the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Congratulations to
DJ.
It was DJ who won. And DJ, you have won 2 free tickets to a sold-out show, Hosier. This is Saturday night at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Saturday, September 14th, or this Saturday. For more information, go to Ticketmaster.com. That is Ticketmaster.com. Now, next hour, busy hour. JD Wicker, San Diego State's athletic director, who's been working on realignment for years. I mean, they've truthfully been working on this for years, especially since the whole SC UCLA news went down 2 years ago with them going to the Big Ten. He's going to join us on the other side on this big day for San Diego State. It is a big day. And then JB Long, voice of the Rams, out of Rams Cardinals this weekend on San Diego Sports 760. JB Long will join us coming up at 5:30. We also have John Party tickets we'll give away in the 5 o'clock hour. But again, San Diego State's athletic director, the Aztecs heading for a Pac-12. What is the league going to look like when San Diego State enters it in 2026? Why was this the right time and the right move for the Aztecs? JD Wicker will answer all of those questions on the other side to kick off hour 3. Stay with us on San Diego Sports 760.
All right, this update's brought to you by Taco Bell. San Diego State is joining the Pac-12 conference officially in 2026. Also, Boise State, Colorado State, and Fresno State will be joining as well to team up with Washington State and Oregon. Padres, they have an off day today. They start a 3-game series with the Giants tomorrow night in San Francisco with Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres against Logan Webb. They're a half game now behind Arizona for the 4 seed in the wild card race. And tonight is the Sean Lewis Coaches Show with John Rich and Coach Lewis, 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. Taco Bell's introducing the new Cantina Chicken menu with the new Cantina Chicken Burrito, Quesadilla Bowl, and tacos featuring their slow roasted chicken. The new Cantina Chicken menu today at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations while supplies last. Contact store for participation, which varies.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim today. We should have a really good hour for you. JD Wicker is expected to join us momentarily. He was traveling this afternoon for Northern California. San Diego State Cal coming up this weekend. Then JB Long, voice of the Rams, always good to talk NFL, and we'll do that with JB Long coming up at 5:30 later this hour. We've got tickets to give away. John Party tickets will give away this hour as well. It's a big day for San Diego State. It just is. And it's a big day, I think, for San Diego sports fans. We've talked about, I don't know if there's anyone that's talked about conference realignment more than I have. But I think behind the scenes,
no one has.
Seriously, I mean, I think publicly, I don't know if there's anyone that's ever talked about conference realignment more than I have. Like, I mean, I've discussed this at length for years on end. I think behind the scenes, the work that San Diego State has done with JD Wicker, Adela De La Torre, I mean, they've put in the work. As much as I've talked about it publicly, I'm sure they've discussed it privately day in and day out for months on end, if not years on end. And JD Wicker's back with us here, Jon and Jim, home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. First of all, JD, congratulations. Thanks for hopping on. Hope you're doing well this afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Excited to get some time with the flagship and of San Diego State Athletics, the voice of Aztec football, and Jim.
And Jim.
And Brent, too. So, and Jim, congratulations. We went through a press conference, and I think everything went well. So we're excited. It's been a big day.
I didn't ruin anything.
I know. I should have taken a photo of the back of his head. I didn't.
I remember you telling me, JD, that I show up for big press conferences. That's all I do. I show up for big press conferences. This was a big press conference, so I had to be there.
All I know is I was so nervous when there was this big press conference when San Diego State went to the Final Four, and all I remember is JD after the press conference, or maybe before, comes up to Jim. He's like, "Oh, I see you. Like you're here with the back of your head." Like it was like I was all excited for the Final Four, and JD was talking about Jim's head. JD, how exciting is this for you personally and professionally to see this through to fruition? How meaningful is this for you and the athletic department and the university?
Yeah, obviously we are very excited to have this opportunity. It has been something we've, obviously been working on for a long time to continue elevating our program. We got really close last year with, what happened on August 4th. And then, here we are again today. We're excited to be with Oregon State, Washington State, and then, our other Mountain West Conference partners that are coming in. And our goal is to create, that next best conference that's out there and, try to compete as much as we can with, a Big 12 and an ACC. And we'll see what happens. We're going to put the best product we can on the field. I know that.
You've been working at this for a while now to improve San Diego State as an athletic program and put it in the best conference possible. And when the press conference started today, you got a little emotional about it. No, I'm not making fun of you at all.
You're mocking me, Jim.
I am not mocking you. I am not mocking you. That's for your wife, probably. I am asking you,
My wife is.
Yes. Where did that emotion come from for you today?
Yeah, I think it was Bryce Miller asked me the same thing. It's, it'll be 8 years, October 24th. My introductory press conference. So we're a little shy of 8 years. And in that 8 years, it has been, it's been a roller coaster. If you think about, the stadium, and that was really hard, and, taking a lot of arrows in that whole kind of campaign as we tried to get some things done. And then you have COVID, and that derails a lot of things. And that was hard. Obviously everybody lived it. And then, you get the stadium going and you're excited. And then unfortunately you have the dip where it's 110 degrees on the first game day, but then you're back up to the Final Four in the national title game. And then, it looks like Pac-12 is going to have, and then whoop, you're back down in that valley. So it's been a lot. And it's, it was special. Today was special. It's special for the community of San Diego, the San Diego State community. I am, proud of the fact that I got the opportunity to play a role in that. And, I hope everybody is thrilled with this next step that we're going to take. And I'm proud to have had that opportunity to do that for the community. And just like we did with the stadium and just like we do with graduating student athletes and all those things, so it's probably, I've got 2 daughters too, that, having kids does that to you too. You'll figure that out one day. So, so I'm excited. It's a good thing.
No doubt about it. San Diego State's athletic director on really a huge day for San Diego State, JD Wicker, with us right now. Jon and Jim, revenue obviously matters in college athletics. JD, you know it better than we do, but the revenue is reinvested in your athletic programs, in the university, in the student athletes. What could this mean revenue-wise for San Diego State athletics as, again, you venture forward? What is this going to mean?
I think it's going to be better revenue opportunities. That's, still remains to be seen what that, ultimate numbers are. But from the data that we've seen and, the schools that are going into the league right now, the Pac-12 enterprises, I think, is a huge asset. That's the network and all the facilities that they have with that. So, I think it's definitely going to be a bump for us. It's also, associating ourselves with, the best that we possibly can at this point. And, it's going to be, quality football, basketball, soccer, tennis, whatever the sport is, quality opponents coming in that people can get excited about. And I think, we'll work to monetize that as best we can and to be as successful as we can. And it will definitely benefit us.
College realignment, athletic realignment, it's based off football. I mean, football is the driving force in college realignment athletically, but I mean, we all know that San Diego State basketball has turned into one of the premier programs in the country with obviously the Final Four run a couple years ago. And I know there's a lot of fans wondering, like, how does this help basketball? What does this do for the basketball program going forward?
Well, you've got, obviously the work that we've done, but, Boise State has been in the tournament, a couple times. They've been very good. They've actually kind of been our nemesis on the court. Colorado State has seen a lot of success. Washington State was in the tournament this past year. Oregon State was in the Elite Eight, not that long ago. And we've still got, more members that are going to be coming in. And, again, football is a driver, but basketball is not insignificant as you think about the revenue that comes to the basketball shares and those types of things. So, and it's important. It's, TV values basketball, not as much as football, but they do value it. And then you've got conference tournament opportunities. So I'm excited about this basketball league. It has the ability to potentially be, tougher than the Mountain West, top to bottom, on a consistent basis.
JD, not to get too far in the weeds, but you mentioned shares, and correct me if I'm wrong. Typically, or a lot of leagues, and I think the Mountain West is like this, you get to the NCAA tournament and the shares are quote unquote split among the league members. Now, it's not always done that way, like the WCC with Gonzaga. Do you have any feel for what that could look like in the Pac-12? Is there an opportunity to earn more revenue off shares in this future league, or is that still too early to tell?
Yeah, we've got an idea of what all that's going to look like. We've still got a long form contract that we've got to that we have to finish to negotiate. There's some elements within things that were a little too complicated to finish in our kind of 72-hour time frame. But we have a good framework where I think you'll have the opportunity to, if you're a successful team in the conference, you're going to have an opportunity to be rewarded for that. But I also think it's important that everybody have a solid base that they're working from. So I think we will find a way to get to the best of both.
This is just the first step. Obviously, there's a lot more steps after this, but this was the first big one. And the next step, I would assume, is obviously adding more schools to this new Pac-12. When that does happen, How much does regionality matter as far as the further expansion of the new Pac-12 conference?
Yeah, there are a significant number of components that will go into this that we will look at. Regionality is also important, but we also want to make sure we're getting the best and the right teams into the league. So that will be something that over the next, however much time, I think it will start sooner rather than later, obviously, for obvious reasons. But we're going to go out, we're going to put the best league together, and regionality is a component of that. But you also look at, television markets, you look at success, all the different components that I'm sure you can think of are definitely things that we're considering.
Is there a preferred number in mind for this conference as far as schools in it?
I'm not going to speak for the group. I can speak for myself.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in any agreement or any discussion that we've had that we will hit this number or that number. My preference would be at least 9 football playing schools so that you get 8 conference games. If it were 10 schools and we wanted to play a 9-game conference, that doesn't hurt my feelings. And then I think having 10 schools that play basketball so that you can get to 18-team round robin, those are important numbers just from a scheduling standpoint.
JD Wicker with us right now on San Diego Sports 760. So, JD, would there be a scenario, and again, not speaking for the league, but in your mind, is there a scenario where you would have, non-football members as well potentially in the league? Is that a possibility?
9 football playing members is a possibility.
Oh no, but I'm sorry, but also like a non-football, like a basketball.
Oh, I'm sorry,
yeah.
non.
Yeah, non. I'm sorry. Yeah, is that possible?
Yeah, non. I mean, if that is we go and sift through all the data and look at, who we might be interested in, and if they have interest as well, and it makes sense, then we're not taking anything off the table.
You said at the press conference, now feels like a really good time for TV deals, and the TV deal for this new Pac-12 conference is a huge thing. So going forward, like, I know we have until 2026, but like timetable wise for that, how quickly does this conference want to also get that done, along with first getting all the schools lined up in order?
Yeah, I mean, we'll be out in the market immediately. So we'll, again, it's a good time. There's a lot of people out there who are hungry for college football and college basketball and all the other things. So, and the good news is there's not a current TV deal or anything like that holding you back that you have to get through. So I would assume is and that's one of the elements of why you want to, do it the right way, but, figure out who the other members are going to be that join so that you can really solidify those conversations that you're having with TV partners out there.
JD, just a couple more before you go. We know it's busy today and this weekend, obviously, and we can talk about Cal San Diego State Saturday night in Berkeley. But what's been the reaction of your athletic department, the coaches around your athletic department, not just with football and men's basketball, but in totality? What is the reaction you're hearing internally? And, what have you heard over the last 24 hours?
Yeah, everybody's excited. It was fun to walk into the building today and see different staff members who were, really excited about this opportunity moving forward. And it seems like the reception publicly, for the most part, has been very positive.
Yep.
So we're, I'm excited. It's turning a page. We've obviously got 2 years of competition in the Mountain West, and we're going to fight hard, and we're going to be, good members and partners with, the other schools that, we've done a lot of great things with. And, while we're building, the new Pac-12, and then come July 1, 2026, we'll pivot and get ready to go win championships there.
I think, with college football and college athletic realignment, like, it kind of catches a lot of people off guard a lot of times because it just happens and all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? And then less than 24 hours later, there's an announcement. So the timetable of things, JD, it seems like this was pretty quickly. I mean, a couple months, obviously, it takes, and you have to, start with conversations and move forward. But just explain to our listeners and Aztecs fans, like the timetable of this happening, because it feels like, for me at least, I look at my phone last time, I'm like, wait, what? Like, it just came out of the blue for me.
Yeah, that's good. It came out of the blue. We almost made it.
Yes. Yeah.
my Mississippi counterpart, we graduated from the same school. Ross Dellinger broke it. I did not have anything to do with that, but yeah, he texted me at one point yesterday, and he was like, why won't you call me? I know. So it was. So I mean, this is something. I mean, honestly, if you think about realignment as a whole, God, I've been working on this since 2020. There've been multiple different iterations of different things that we've looked at, and then you have obviously the Pac-12 last year, and then obviously people were trying to figure out what they were doing to get into this academic year, have games to play, all those types of things. And then over the summer, conversations started kind of happening again, and then the last couple months things really started picking up steam. And then this week has been a whirlwind. I think it's Thursday. We spent I can't remember if we started in earnest on Monday or Tuesday, but it was pretty much 2 straight days of just first thing in the morning to the last thing at night, Zoom calls, phone calls, talking with all the different entities that you have to talk to make sure everybody's comfortable. And so it was it was fun now if you look back on it. And we've got some good stories that we can share with people over various things that happened. But it is amazing how these things happen quickly, and and ours took longer than a lot of them have. I mean, there some of these things happen. I think Oregon and Washington basically had 24 hours to make a decision. So it's always interesting to see how it plays out.
And why now instead of maybe a week from now or 2 weeks from now?
It just kind of how it played out, and what seemed like the best timing to have it happen. Everybody gets nervous that something else is going to break, something else is going to happen, right. Somebody's going to try to do something. So we were able to get to a point where we could get this done, and so we got it done.
Last question, I'm sorry, JD, to cut you off, which I think I did.
Good.
I was just going to say Saturday night, San Diego State and Cal. It's obviously only game 3 for Coach Lewis. What's your just reaction to the start of this new era and the opportunity in front of San Diego State for their first road game up at Berkeley on Saturday night?
Yeah, I'm hopeful we go up and continue the growth of the team. Obviously, we've got some challenges with some injuries. And how that's gonna, that impacts the offensive line. The defense has been outstanding the last 2 games, and we've got to be better with the football. You score a touchdown, and I think that would have made it 7-7 if you don't fumble on the goal line. Could be a completely different ball game at that point with the way our defense was playing. And, you get some confidence. You just got to execute, and that's something that I think this team is still figuring out, still learning. Again, a lot of new pieces, but even though we did get shut out this weekend, still saw some progress with how the offense operated at times, and hopefully we'll continue to see that growth in Berkeley against Cal, and obviously a good football team coming off of a great win. But then we get an open date and go to Central Michigan and get into our conference schedule, and so hopefully good result this week, or at least learn from this, and then take a week to get some kids healthy and launch into the next part of the schedule.
Yeah, it's just a great coincidence that San Diego State's playing Cal and Oregon State's playing Oregon, and you have
it's a big weekend.
Yeah,
you're right. It is. It's a big weekend in the West. JD, thank you. Congratulations. We're thrilled for you, obviously, here, home of the Aztecs. I know it's been a long time coming. Congratulations to you and your staff and the university on all these efforts being rewarded. And let's do it again soon. We'll see you Saturday at Cal.
Yeah, no, appreciate it very much. And again, appreciate y'all's support through everything and all that you do for San Diego State athletics. And yes, John, I will see you, I guess, tomorrow night in Walnut Creek, and we'll go from there, and go Aztecs.
Looking forward to it, JD. Thank you again. Congratulations. That is JD Wicker, San Diego State's athletic director. We react, plus JB Long at 5:30. It's Jon and Jim. All right, just a couple of minutes of reaction. We do have John Party tickets to give away. Then JD Long will join us in about 6 or 7 minutes. Great to connect with JD Wicker. Tell it's a long time coming. A lot of work goes into it. It sounds like this week was just 24 hours, 2-3 days.
Yeah.
And get this thing done, and it got done.
Yeah, he's not gonna say it. I do think it is a great coincidence that you have this weekend San Diego State playing Cal, Washington versus Washington State, Oregon State versus Oregon.
Yeah, huge rivalries, big television audiences.
Yeah, like it's a great week to announce this during this upcoming weekend.
Colorado State, games. Colorado.
Did I mention Colorado State?
Colorado? No, not right. But that's a ESPN game, or no? Wherever that is, that's a massive. Right, yeah. So think about the viewership.
Huge games right there.
And think about that's being referenced now throughout those 4 games nationally. And you're now reaching millions because Colorado State, the Civil War, the Apple Cup. I mean, these are really big games. And the San Diego State games on ESPN on Saturday night as well.
And you do this in a week where like you're facing off against Air Force and then Colorado State's taking on San Jose State. It's like it doesn't resonate as much as we know the viewership ratings for Colorado State.
They'll be massive.
They'll be huge. Yep. Washington State.
Be big.
And then Oregon State. Huge.
Yeah, huge.
And so like you said, FS1 for Aztecs Cal.
No,
sorry.
ESPN.
ESPN, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely something I would bet a lot that they looked at and they said that's the date. Like let's get before the season even started, they said, all right, if we're gonna get this done, we have to get it done by this week because of that weekend of games.
What JD said that is really fascinating to me is that in order to go to market, you need to know the TV networks need to know, well, what are you?
Right.
So, but they want to go to market.
Yeah.
So they want to get this thing done. I'd be shocked if this played out over months. Yeah. I think it plays out, and I'm making this up, speaking out of turn. I think it plays out over either days or weeks.
So,
but not months.
Hold on, let me pull this up. Real quick. I think did I like it? I must have not had it, but Bill Thompson, the former
Bob Thompson,
the former exec of
I think it was Fox Sports Network.
Fox Sports Network said that this is for TV purposes, like really good for this iteration of the Pac-12
timing,
because the old iteration of the Pac-12, they like their expectations was through the roof and it was unattainable. They wanted something that they were probably never going to get, and then that's how the thing imploded. This iteration of the Pac-12. Like it's going to get a pretty good TV deal in his estimation.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be going to these streaming platforms and networks and being unrealistic with their asks.
Is that one of those things where they just learned their lesson? Because last time they overreached what they asked for, and then this time they're like, hey, remember what happened last time? Make a reasonable request. Don't sit there and ask for the world right away.
And also don't slow play. Get out in front of it, be aggressive, which is what they were here today. All right, call right now. First caller is going to see John Party on Saturday, September 21st. 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760. First caller is going to see John Party Saturday, September 21st at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. JB Long, voice of the Rams, joins us next. All right, guys, Jon and Jim, we've been telling you this week about our friends over at Hamul Casino. We were there yesterday. Great times, great food and drinks, Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. And with football season back, you can join them at Hamul every single Monday in September this month for a chance to win big with Monday Night Live $100,000 Punch-Out.
Yeah, along with the slots and gambling. The food there, like John said, is delicious, especially at the Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. Amazing. I had the Slam Diego burger. You got to try it. With the egg on top, with the garlic fries. They just opened a new Chinese restaurant, Emerald. They have a steakhouse there. It's all delicious. And while you're there, like John said, playing the Monday Night Live $100,000 Punch-Out, 10 winners every single hour, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m. Your odds are better than ever. Plus, earn entries all month long by playing and get 2 times entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 in cash for all winners, a chance to win up to $100,000 in cash. You guys are not going to want to miss it.
Humul's got Endless Dining 5 nights a week. Endless Dining includes Saturday Surf and Turf Buffet. You're going to absolutely love it. The perfect combination of succulent steaks and delectable seafood and much, much more.
Get to Humul Casino all football season long, including every Monday night for Monday Night Live, $100,000 punch out. Humul Casino, it's fun above all else. All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. Aztecs, they are in the Pac-12 starting in 2026. That announcement happened early this morning. Boise State, Colorado State, and Fresno State will also be joining the Pac-12 to join up with Washington State and Oregon State. Padres, they have an off day today. Nobody's playing that matters right now, so they're losing no ground on anybody or gaining any ground on anybody. Their season is 15 games remaining. They start a 3-game series with the Giants starting tomorrow night in San Francisco. And the Sean Lewis Coaches Show with John Rich and Coach Lewis, half hour away. You can listen to that game right here, or listen to that show right here on San Diego Sports 760. Taco Bell is introducing the new Cantina Chicken menu with a new Cantina Chicken burrito, quesadilla bowl, and tacos featuring their new slow roasted chicken. Try the new Cantina Chicken menu today at a participating U.S. Taco Bell while supplies last.
All right, you can hear the Rams week 2. Rams, Cardinals, Sunday at 1 right here on San Diego Sports 760. Always a pleasure to have the voice of the Rams, JB, along with us here on Jon and Jim. So, JB, week 1, the overtime loss in Detroit. Let's just start there. What was your overall takeaways from what you saw in the opener from the Rams? And thanks for joining us as always, man.
Oh, it's great to be with you guys. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah.
I think that one falls squarely in the category of a moral victory. Which is nice in the sense that it gives the Rams something to build upon. Unfortunately, I think the shelf life for moral victories is no more than 7 days, so it's only good for something if you cash it in for a real victory the next time you take the field, which will be this Sunday against the Cardinals.
How concerning are all these injuries, JB?
Very. Yeah, I mean, it's they're not 4 deep with 5-star scholarship players. Like, that's not the environment the Rams operate in the National Football League. And time is precious, resources are precious, and so to not have a top-line player, it's never going to be easy. To have an accumulation of 3-4 injuries and suspensions at one position group, especially one like the offensive line, that makes everybody's life more difficult.
but they're not going to get any sympathy. I know that. The Cardinals have been waiting a long time to beat the Rams, especially at their place. So they probably think this is their golden opportunity, and if not now, when?
What is, in your opinion, the biggest injury that they have that's going to affect them the most?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of star power, it's Puka Nacua, right? But thankfully, the Rams are as deep as I've ever seen them at receiver. So paradoxically, I think that one they can actually cover for the next month or so. Left tackle is an issue, right? Like what they did against Detroit, coming back from down 2 touchdowns, despite the fact that Aiden Hutchinson basically had a straight line to Matthew Stafford every time he dropped back to pass. I'm not sure I've seen anything like that. I've seen it go the other direction, but I'm not sure I've ever seen a team thrive in those circumstances, especially on the road. It's no way to live in the league. It's not going to be good for Matthew's long-term success or health. And likewise, how heavily he had to depend on Cooper Kupp to get the Rams out of that jam. So I would probably say finding a professional solution, someone who can give them a quality effort this weekend in the hopes that Alaric Jackson comes off of the suspended list and can play in week 3 against the Niners at left tackle. That's probably the one that I've got circled because it impacts everything. The running game, getting Kyron Williams going, and certainly protecting Stafford's blind side.
JB Long is the voice of the Rams. You can hear the Rams right here on San Diego Sports 760 on Sunday at 1 against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, with the injuries, you look at the way Matt Stafford played this past weekend. He was outstanding. Goes for over 300 yards, nearly won the Rams the game this past weekend. Can he, obviously he can't do it alone, but how confident are you in him based on what we saw in the opener?
With Stafford?
Yeah, with Stafford. Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of saying, out loud to our audience, but mostly to myself earlier today, like, this isn't going to last forever. This partnership between Stafford and Kupp and McVay, like, let's enjoy it while we can, because one of my takeaways from Sunday is that there was only one quarterback in the building who can do what he did. And I don't mean to belittle Jared Goff in any way, shape, or form. He was a great Ram and he's a great line, and I think he's going to have a wonderful, long, illustrious career. But what Matthew did was different, was special, and he's one of maybe 3, 4, 5 people on the planet who can get that done. And I think it underscored the fact that he's still very much in his prime at age 36, because he showed some elusiveness, some mobility within and without the pocket. So long as things get better from here, because he's in harm's way, make no mistake about it. But so long as the Rams can protect him with their running game and with a retooled offensive line, I think he's got every chance to believe that he can take the Rams to where they want to go this season.
Cooper Kupp also balled out against the Lions, and obviously with the loss of Puka Nacua, he's going to have to be a large chunk of that offense to the receiving core. It seems like he's back to himself, his 2022 self, 2021 self, right? I mean, this guy on Sunday you couldn't guard him.
No question. And the question is, can they keep playing that way and have that hold true the next time we talk, right? Because, to have 14 catches and tie a career high, that's wonderful. If you're a Cooper Kupp owner in fantasy football, it definitely helped the Rams dig out of their deficit and almost steal a victory from Detroit. But he can't be running almost 500 yards pre-snap like he did against the Lions. Like he can't have a marathon every Sunday. Nobody's built that way over the course of a 17-game schedule, especially not someone who's on, the plus side of 30 and has a recent injury history. I'm not saying you have to wrap Cooper Kupp in bubble wrap. He's strong, he's tough, he's healthy, he's built for this. But I think someone or multiple someones will have to maintain that longer lens, because the goal is to have Cooper Kupp playing like he did last week in week 1 and week 16, 17, 18 in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I feel like you're going to know the answer to this. You're going to know the teams that start 0-2. The math isn't favorable. I don't know what the math is, but it's certainly not favorable. So, you look at this game and just knowing that, right? This is one of those games where it's a bit of a coin flip, according to Las Vegas. It's impactful because 1-1 as opposed to 0-2 can mean a lot, especially with the Niners then lurking on deck, right?
Yeah, I mean, you just laid it out, right? Whatever the math is,
yep.
For teams that start 0-2, it's even worse for teams that start 0-2 and then probably host the 2-0 reigning NFC champion
right.
the next week, right? So it's not dire, it's not dim, it can be done, and I think that's one of the reasons why when we chatted last week, I said, hey, my expectations are a little bit more moderate, right? Like, I want the long burn, patient, slow build approach to this season, which is not to say I'm advocating to start 0-2. No, I very much agree with what you're saying, that this is a high leverage game, NFC opponent, NFC West opponent, road game. But if it does go the wrong way, are the Rams in dire straits? No, I don't think that, because they haven't yet played a home game. And I'd also think that they are built for 9, 10, maybe more wins if they can get the right roster to Sunday more times than not. And I think the loss in Detroit was Exhibit A. Unfortunately, it just put them one loss behind where they're trying to go.
Seeing them in person, how good are the Lions?
Yeah, I was impressed. And here's the thing: is I was impressed with the way they were able to win, because it wasn't what I expected from them.
Mm-hmm.
Amon-Ra St. Brown was relatively quiet, but I give their coaching staff a lot of credit, given what he did to the Rams last January. Maybe they're anticipating a few more eyes on him. So they gave Jameson Williams his chance, and he thrived. I was expecting them to try and beat the Rams downhill between the tackles a little bit more, bludgeon them with their running game. That's not really how it went. Some of that was because of what the Rams did defensively. But then you saw in overtime them kind of get back to that Lions identity. You know, that kind of, we're going to make you tackle us 5, 7, 8 times per possession. We're going to keep the ball away from your future Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, that's more of what I was expecting. And they deployed it at just the right time, when the Rams, unfortunately, were dragging their tongues around Ford Field because of pure exhaustion.
I think you said with us last week heading into, the regular season, like the biggest question is like, what do you do without Aaron Donald? I mean, nobody really knows the impact is so significant. We felt it in week 1. You see how it played out in overtime. Can it be, quote unquote, overcome? I mean, playing an entire season without him, getting any type of production that's comparable to it, how are they going to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I had some good days playing Super Mario as a kid, but I know I was a lot better when I had the cheat codes, right? Like when I had the secrets and I could take shortcuts. And that's what Aaron Donald has been for a decade for this organization. And here's where it's really more apparent than ever, is I think Kyler Murray has had some legitimately viable MVP caliber stretches of football.
Mm-hmm.
And then Aaron Donald has walked into his life and torn the whole thing down to the studs, right? Like, he's really been a game wrecker for him. So this will be yet another step in the process of finding out what life is like after Aaron Donald with the Rams, because he has tormented the Cardinals more than any other franchise, and the Cardinals have been tormented by Aaron more than any other individual. Kyler Murray has to be sleeping better this week, knowing that AD 99 is not walking through that door. But to your question, I do think the Rams front four showed that they've got a bunch of young, hungry pass rushers who might be ready to kick that door down themselves.
We're looking forward to it. Week 2, again, right here on San Diego Sports 760. You can hear JB Long. Rams, Cardinals, an early season game that's impactful, obviously, certainly for Los Angeles. JB, we appreciate you doing it. Let's connect again at some point late next week, and thanks for hopping on in San Diego.
Hey, my pleasure. I know we had an earthquake up here in Malibu today. Any significant sporting news down your way with respect to
yes,
or anything, or just business as usual?
Yeah, I know you've caught a lot of Pac-12 games in your day, and it is a significant story down here. We've talked a lot about it today.
The Padres, I think, sent somebody down today.
Yeah, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, other than that, I don't really know.
Thanks. Yeah, we're excited. I mean, you followed this league for a long time. It's again, it's different. I mean, we from where we were a year ago to where it is today, it's different. But I think it's intriguing for programs like San Diego State, Boise State, and others.
These days are difficult. I've been on the plus side of them and the wrong side of them, and there's some things to be celebrated and other things to be lamented. But I'll say this: I have a huge amount of respect for that university, for that athletic department, the resources and their commitment to competing at the highest level. And so for them, I can celebrate.
Yeah, well said. Well said, JB. We'll be listening to you this weekend. We'll catch up again next week, and thanks for joining us.
See you guys.
All right, JB Long, voice of the Rams. Jim's back. Thanks. If you are looking for Sean Lewis's thoughts on today's announcement, San Diego State's the Pac-12, we'll share those with you coming up in about 12 minutes. Myself, Rich Ornberger, looking ahead at this weekend, Cal, San Diego State from Berkeley at 7:30. You can hear it right here. Back at the Week 2 game at Snapdragon Stadium against Oregon State, and we talk about the Pac-12 and what it means for San Diego State now and moving forward as well. So crazy show. If you missed anything today, please, if you're listening back on podcasts, seriously, leave a review. We really do appreciate that. We're everywhere you find podcasts. There's a lot of great interviews today. JD Wicker and Kyle Glazer and JB Long and more. So if you missed anything today, check it out on podcast, sportssd.com, iHeart, et cetera, et cetera. And right now, let's get to this.
So the one-of-one card that we talked about a couple weeks ago, the LeBron, Curry, Durant triple auto card.
Yeah.
Which is whoever gets it, it's I kind of buried the lead there, but it's going to be worth thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably up towards maybe millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's in the card.
It's an Olympic card autograph for the three of them.
Yeah, it's a one-of-one. The only one made.
Only one that exists.
And the Topps Now I guess card program that people buy into, and you get Topps Now cards, right? It's kind of like almost like a raffle. So you don't know if you're going to get it, but you have a chance to get it. And so that thing blew up. As of right now, no one has claimed the triple autograph one-of-one LeBron, Steph, Durant card.
Explain that to me when you say nobody's claimed, because the claim based on when you code or a winner.
You get these Top Now packs.
Yeah.
And they're special like cards, right?
Okay.
So you're not guaranteed. You're just guaranteed to get something like probably good.
Okay.
But they threw this card in there, and that's why everyone freaked out. Was like, I need to enter to for a chance to win. It's like pulling a first edition Shadowless Charizard.
You lost him at first edition.
and satellite Charizard.
So you don't know. Like it's kind of like it's like opening a pack of.
Is it the golden ticket Willy Wonka?
Yes. There you go. Good analogy.
There we go. I tried to get there,
but there was more than one golden ticket.
There is.
Yes. So this is even rarer.
This is one in the country, one in the world. Okay.
Yeah.
That's got to be worth millions, Jim.
It probably will be
pushing like
because everybody. I mean, when Giannis Antetokounmpo tweeted how badly he wanted it,
that pumped it up.
It pumps it up and stuff. So, the closest thing that someone has got to like, I guess that card, even though you can't really get close to that, is an 8-year-old boy pulled a gold one-of-one variant of Steph, LeBron, and KD last week.
Oh wow.
It's not the triple auto card, but it's still pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are already offering whoever gets it like upwards of $500,000 for the card. Giannis has offered over $150,000. So this card has still not been claimed yet.
That's super cool. I do love cards. I do love the idea of that. That's super cool.
The new Fantastic Four movie is coming out, I believe, next year, right, Brent?
Yeah, July.
And so like Fantastic Four items are now kind of going through the roof. The Fantastic Four #1 comic book sold for a record the other day at Heritage Auction for $2.04 million, becoming the 6th comic book to sell for more than $1 million in 2024.
The significance being it's like it's condition, or it's so rare, or it's from when? That's a lot. When's it from?
It's just like the first edition Fantastic Four.
So are we going
comic
like
60s,
way back?
Yeah, it'd be from 60s.
1961 is when the Fantastic Four was introduced.
Fantastic Four, John, is like they're one of the OG Marvel superheroes. They're probably older than like Spider-Man and stuff like that.
And this comic book graded very high at 9.6, and 10's obviously the best you can get.
$2 million for
a 9.6. Imagine if this was a 10.
10 hadn't been touched or anything.
Triple that.
Really?
Seriously.
Wow.
You triple that.
We should have gotten that in 61. Held on to it.
Yeah. Jack in the Box is releasing their new Which Please Shake, available now through the app and in-store starting on Monday. Sorry. It's a sweet ube flavor with Oreo cookies mixed in. It's a purple drink, whipped cream on top, Oreos mixed into that. So there you go. You can get a large or you can get a medium.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So there you go. Puerto Rico Popeyes, John.
Okay.
I know it doesn't make any
Right.
sense.
Popeyes in Puerto Rico
just released a new dessert in Puerto Rico. And if it works out, it could make its way to the States. It's a biscuit a la mode. So it's a Popeyes biscuit topped with these 5 different flavors you could choose. You can choose strawberry, you can choose chocolate, caramel, peanut, or Oreo cookie.
I think that's smart.
Like,
because the biscuits are good. Now you're making the biscuit sweet. It's a little bit of like sweet and salt.
Yeah.
And their biscuits are popular and everyone likes dessert.
They kind of have something like that now at Popeyes because you can get a strawberry biscuits.
Okay.
Yes, I know.
Now.
Yeah. I've had this before.
Yeah. So this is an expansion maybe of that.
They're just
unfortunately
frosting on them now.
But you got to go to San Juan.
You got to go to Puerto Rico.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, there you go. That's the back page.
That's the back page for today. Well, Sean Lewis, all right, we're going to 1 full hour with the head coach of the Aztecs coming up at the top of the hour.
What are you guys going to talk about?
Well, first of all, we're going to talk about today's news. What does it mean for the program? Because like in the here and now, he's getting his team ready for Cal.
Yeah,
so it doesn't mean anything for his team this second.
Yeah.
And it's actually can be a distraction. But what does it mean for him on the recruiting trail for San Diego State, his staff, his program? We'll talk about last week, what went good, what didn't. We'll talk about this week. What's to come here against the Cal Golden Bears, who are 2-0. So, like, this is a legit test, and it's the Aztecs on the road for the first time this year. So we'll talk about taking the team on the road,
and question marks for this weekend. Obviously, like the health of Danny O'Neal, like what's going to happen there, and going forward, like how is he going to progress? I think getting better is always the goal, but you can't get better if you're injured. So, like, what's his status and all that stuff like that. So we'll probably figure that out tonight and going forward.
There you go. That's exactly right. If you missed anything today, big day, great show. SportsSD.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and Spotify. Again, if you're listening to us on podcast, please do give us a review. We really do appreciate that. Please follow us on social media. We're there for you with San Diego Sports News at Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. Sean Lewis Show on the other side with myself, Rich Hornberger, and head coach of the Aztecs for Brent and for Jim. I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports